From Harry Hurley Way in the world's playground to the broadcast pioneers of Philadelphia Hall of Fame, you're about to find out why Harry Hurley has been named to the Talkers Magazine list of the 100 most important talk show hosts in the nation.
Yes.
Live from the studios of Town Square Media in Northfield, it's Hurley in the Morning on WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app.
It is we are back. It is 6 minutes past the hour. Thank you for waking up Hurley in the Morning. And yes, Crazy Town, USA, alive and not so well. Judge Merchan with this rush. Don't know even if President Trump would be able to have a day off for his son's graduation. And here the case is over. There's still the closing summations and jury instructions, and then the jury gets the case. But it's over. And Judge Merchan lets unsequestered jurors go away for 8 days. I have to say, this even for someone that's been covering outrages, like it's an outrage that LaQuetta Small keeps showing up every day, that the running joke is, God, this lady shows up more now than before the criminal child abuse charges. And countless other outrages. Bob Levy. You could go on and on and on. Countless. This is one of the most outrageous, completely disgraceful outrages that I've ever seen. Do you know the case is over? And I said this was going to happen. The case is over, and they've never said what the predicate crime is that even made it possible to make this a case. Because the misdemeanor stuff, that's over. That's statute of limitations. Bye-bye. Gone. But because Alvin Bragg said that there was a federal crime that he could attach the misdemeanors to, that he could do this case. But, of course, he's not allowed, and this Judge Merchan doesn't care. He's just going along with it all. He's not even allowed to bring this case forward because he doesn't have the authority to bring a federal case. So they had to put a case on without even knowing. I mean, think about this. Not even in a banana republic. At least there they tell you what you're charged with. It's rigged and you're going down and you're going to lose, but they at least tell you what you're charged with. Espionage, if you're in some foreign country, they want to make it look like you're spying. They tell you at least. They didn't tell Trump what he was charged with. And then you have to put a case on. This is unbelievable. And then Merchan wouldn't let an FEC, Federal Election Commission, former chairman, an expert, wouldn't let him testify, but he let people like David Pecker and other people testify. I think it was a election contribution, a campaign finance contribution. Let complete novices tell the jury, but wouldn't let an expert. This Merchan is a lowlife. And he should be criminally prosecuted. I swear, if I had the power, I wish I had the power to criminally charge him and Bragg. Because what they've done is outrageous. And this jury, I'm telling you, I won't make a prediction. I mean, if you ask me, I'll tell you what I think. But I'm not making a prediction on this. This Merchan has allowed countless times for the prosecution to say that Trump is guilty of campaign finance crimes. Now, meanwhile, whether you like him or not, no, he's not. Never been charged with, isn't guilty of, and there are no such crimes in this case. Paying money and doing an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, is not criminal. It's not criminal. They want it to be. So Mershon refuses to instruct the jury that paying, and it wasn't hush money, but they use this term. Mershon refuses to instruct the jury that paying hush money is not criminal. He told the defense attorney that you've told the jury that. He's not going to do that. He should do that. He should say, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you've heard many times during this trial that the defendant is guilty of hush money crimes and such, and that is incorrect. He won't do that, though, because they want the impression. Another thing, usually you instruct a jury about what they can convict the defendant of. Mershon's not going to do that. They're evidently putting like 3 abstract things out there and then just let the jury decide. You've got the prosecutor saying, yeah, we think just telling the jury less is the way to go. Shouldn't tell them very much. So how would I make a prediction? I told you about the Tad DiLorenzo case. You have to understand, maybe they are following it. Look, they have 8 days. Do you think those jurors, what are they going to become, monks for 8 days? They're going to go to parties. They're going to be hearing from people. Oh, man, you got the power. They have 8 days now to forget about what they learned and then get into the mindset of lawfare. This is also reversible damages. This jury should have gotten the case no later. I would have said, look, we've been taking Wednesdays off, but let's come in. Jury gets the case. You do the closing summations. Jury gets the case. They would have gotten tomorrow at least and Friday. And I don't think it's going to take a long, long time. This case should have been over before the Memorial Day weekend. Instead, you tell the jury to come back in 8 days? This is disgraceful. I can't even believe that this is our country anymore, that this is allowed to go on like this. Imagine letting Stormy Daniels and people like David Pecker testify about all kinds of stuff, but you don't let the defense have Brad Smith, a former chairman of the Federal Election Commission, who could just set all of this straight. Defense attorney could question, prosecution would be able to do, the cross examination, and this guy doesn't have an axe to grind. He actually wrote a column, what I would have said to the jury. He wasn't going to put his thumb on the scale. He was just going to tell the truth. There's confusion, and they want it to be that way. I will tell you, if this jury unanimously comes back and they have, for the first time in American history, convicted the President of the United States, and then Joe Biden and all the Democrats get to fundraise off of the fact that the Republican nominee is a convicted felon, you know what's going to happen. Newsrooms all over the country are going to tell their writers, every time you refer to Donald Trump, you put federally convicted former President Donald Trump. What they can't do on Election Day, they're trying to do with this. I want to flip out. I am so ticked off at what's going on. And I'm really going to go off if President Trump is convicted. Because I know how unjust that is. There's no way in the world that he should be convicted of this. This is completely manufactured. And I don't know how long. You have to understand, his first appeal is not to the United States Supreme Court. His first appeal would be in New York. They could take a real long time to decide if they're going to take the case, when they're going to take the case. You think they're going to rush? They'll do everything they can to make sure that if they got a guilty verdict, then it's going to be very interesting. What's Merchan going to act like? Hey, look, I could jail him, but I won't do that. I mean, this guy's going to pretend like he's even-handed. Finally, and after the break, I'm going to tell you about it. I have been begging someone, please file charges against Juan Merchan. Well, it's happened, and I'll tell you about it after the break. Can you, seriously, honestly, can you believe this? That this is our country now? I told you a long time ago that we would see things in this election cycle that we could not even imagine, that we have never seen before. I told you. And get ready. This isn't the last. They're not done. There will be more.
Mark Levin.
Anybody who votes for Joe Biden hates the country.
Yes.
Because Joe Biden hates the country.
Yes.
Anybody who votes for Joe Biden supports what he's done to our legal system.
Yes.
Anybody who votes for Joe Biden supports that he has funded Iran.
Yes.
He's armed Iran.
Yes.
He has supported Hamas.
Yes.
By funding Iran.
Yes.
And Hezbollah.
Yes.
And all the rest of the damn alphabet soup in the Middle East.
Mark Levin on South Jersey's talk station, WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Fox News commentary.
Donald Trump will hold a rally in the South Bronx this week. Could the Empire State maybe, just maybe, be up for grabs? I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Donald Trump Jr. here. Since January of 2021, the cost of living has increased by 17.9%. You can't get that money back, but you can stop your losses by diversifying into a gold IRA from my friends at Birch Gold Group. To learn more, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word SHELTER to 989898. That's SHELTER to the number 989898 to get your free info kit from Birch Gold now.
Message and data rates may apply.
Former President Trump has been tied up in court for a month, but that won't stop him from being a man of the people. In his first New York rally since 2016, Donald Trump will hold a campaign rally in the South Bronx on Thursday. And guess what? The people of that typically very blue, very Democrat area seem to be pretty excited about it. And I applaud Trump, not only for his stamina and relentless campaigning despite the Democrat efforts to shut him up, but also for going somewhere that a lot of other Republicans would write off as just unwinnable. I know it's a long shot, but maybe Donald Trump can win in blue states like New York. The average people of America are hurting. Inflation, crime, and the open border have driven even the most liberal of the liberals into a forced wake-up call, or at least we hope. Either way, it takes gut and grit to show up, and Donald Trump has both. Let's make New York great again. I'm Tommy Lahren.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Hurley in the morning.
It's breaking news that I can trust.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
It is what we do. We break more news than the entire combined media all put together. This is such good news, and I want more. I want more, and I want more, and I want more of this. It is time. Look, I'll give you an example. Marty Small, and he was under oath, I believe, yesterday. So was LaQuetta. They're going to be testifying and under oath and civil things and at criminal things for a long, long time. You realize just David Castellani alone has, I believe, 11 cases. It is time. I don't go for lawfare or any of that. It is time to charge the other side. This existence that one side gets crushed and the other side gets away with everything, it's not happening anymore. And good for Elise Stefanik. I'll tell you, I think she is terrific. She has filed an ethics complaint against Judge Juan Merchan. Quote, acting, because this guy's just appointed, acting Judge Juan Merchan is in clear violation of Section 100.3E1D of the Rules of Judicial Conduct of the New York State Unified Court System. It almost sounds like some Star Trek or something. The intergalactic, as his family has enriched itself through anti-Trump fundraising, mentioning this case directly. It's true. I'm telling you, these people are disgusting and they are disgraceful and they are blatant. Stefanik has requested an investigation from the New York State Commission on Judicial Conduct. Stefanik and other Trump supporters have called on Merchan to recuse himself from the trial because Merchan's daughter, Lauren, that's L-O-R-E-N, not L-A-U-R-E-N, does consulting work for Democrats. A Trump acquittal would be, quote, detrimental to Democrats, including clients of Judge Merchan's daughter. Stefanik wrote, quote, if on the other hand, Trump is convicted, such a verdict would provide a fundraising windfall for Democrat clients of Judge Merchan's daughter, end quote. Trump is charged with falsifying business records on a $130,000 payment to his former lawyer, Michael Cohen, to reimburse him for paying porn actor Stormy Daniels to stop saying that she had a sexual encounter with Trump. Trump has denied all charges and said the encounter never occurred. Merchan refused to recuse himself last August, citing guidance from the New York Court System's Advisory Committee on Judicial Ethics. Stefanik has filed 5 complaints against judges and prosecutors involved in cases against Trump, including with the New York Commission on Judicial Conduct, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit, and the New York Bar Association. Last month, Stefanik filed an ethics complaint with the Justice Department's Office of Professional Responsibility against Special Counsel Jack Smith, accusing him of trying to, quote, unlawfully interfere with the 2024 presidential election, end quote, with his rush to bring former President Donald Trump to trial in connection with the January 6th, 2021 incidents at the Capitol. Quote, it's obvious to any reasonable observer that Jack Smith is trying to interfere with the 2024 election and stop the American people from electing Donald Trump, the New York Republican said in a statement announcing the complaint, quote, at every turn, he has sought to accelerate his illegal prosecution of President Trump for the clear, if unstated, purpose of trying him before the November election. Last November, a complaint filed against the judge overseeing Trump's civil fraud trial was dismissed. President Trump said, quote, I feel very good, end quote, after the defense rests in the New York trial. Quote, feel very good. I think we have a great case that was put on. There is no crime. In fact, I just got almost every review that's been done of our case so far as they say there's no crime. It should never have been brought. It should be dismissed before you have a verdict. Quote, we have a judge that is extremely, let's say, complicated, but let's also say conflicted. He's complicated and conflicted. Trump's legal team motioned for Merchan to recuse himself from the case based on his daughter, Lauren Merchan, is president of Authentic Campaigns, a Chicago-based progressive political consulting firm whose top clients include Representative Adam Schiff and Senate Minority PAC and Majority Democratic Party fundraiser. Mershon denied the motion and remained on the case. Quote, "It's a frustrating situation," Trump said. Quote, "Nobody has ever seen anything quite like it." End quote. Yeah, that's because there never has been anything like it. Trump's attorneys and prosecutors from Democrat Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg's office were set to meet later Tuesday with Mershon to hash out the specifics of the legal instructions. We've been telling you all along that's where Mershon can really screw Trump over. Closing arguments are expected to begin next week. Quote, "We have a situation where we have no crime, and these next couple of hours are very important because the judge can try to manufacture one where it goes from a misdemeanor, which doesn't exist because of the statute of limitations, and they try to bring it into a felony, but you can't do it because they haven't proved it," Trump said. Quote, "You're going to read all of these experts. You know the ones. I don't have to go over their names again. They're all experts, legal scholars, talented people, very smart people, and there is no crime. They're going to try to devise one right now. And the judge, he will help them out because the judge has been very helpful to the other side. That should never be in our country." End quote. After the break, I want to share with you, I'm going to write myself a quick little note. I'm going to share with you, it'll be extemporaneous because I don't have any notes on it, but I watched him and I've listened to him. Trey Gowdy, who is not a big Trump supporter. In fact, I think he's pretty much not a Trump supporter. I'll share with you, he was in the courtroom. I will share with you what he observed. We'll be back in just a little bit. This is the Hurley in the Morning program.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
Thank you. 31 minutes past the hour. Harry Hurley. 3 stories that you can follow on the WPG Talk Radio 95.5 app, and I hope you will. We just broke this a little while ago, an Atlantic City candidate without a conflict of interest. What a difference. Running. Crime allegations leading to low morale at the Atlantic City Public Schools, and at 11 a.m. this morning, I am breaking news on our digital app about a federal criminal investigation.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. A taste of real summer weather today as our warming trend peaks. We'll see about 70 along the coast, but 80s inland today with mostly sunny skies and dry weather during the day. There is a chance of a pop-up shower or thunderstorm tonight. It's going to be kind of sticky, low temperature 67. Still warm and humid tomorrow with a high of 81, but clouds roll in and scattered thunderstorms are likely tomorrow too. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
Starting your day the right way with Hurley in the Morning on South Jersey's talk station, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. You're waking up with Hurley in the Morning.
Established, reputable.
Yep.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Good description. Welcome back. 36 minutes past the hour. Well, the heat is coming, and I've been promising you that this day would be here. It's Harry Hurley with a special offer from my friends at Ambient Comfort Heating and Air Conditioning Professionals. Get your air conditioning system checked now. That's right, now. Not when you're sweaty and miserable. The sooner you discover a problem, the easier the repairs tend to be. And while the price of just about everything has gone up and gone up a lot, Ambient Comfort's tune-up special is the same affordable price, just $59 for new customers, and it's well worth it. Their certified technicians will perform a thorough precision tune-up on your system. They'll make sure that it's safe and running at maximum efficiency. It's something that we do twice a year, and it's just great, just regular maintenance. They check how your system is doing. lets you know if anything needs to be done. It reminds you things like replacing air filters and doing stuff like that. And they'll prepare you to get through the summer heat. Very simple. I'm asking you to choose who I choose. Ambient Comfort. Schedule your tune-up now, and it's going to get very, very busy if you wait. Worst thing you could ever do is wait for the hot weather to come. You put your system on, and then you realize it's not working. You can go to ambientcomfortnj.com or call 609-568-0955. 609-568-0955 or ambientcomfortnj.com for your $59 air conditioning tune-up for new customers. Tell them Harry Hurley sent you. All right, Trey Gowdy, who I'm not a hater of, but I'm not a huge fan. And you can just tell I have the ability in the very early morning hours to see different replays that come on. So Trey Gowdy, I'm working at the time he's on. Now, I don't watch him on Sunday night. I can't. And honestly, I wouldn't. But while I'm working, I have him on, and I listen with one ear. I'm working. I'm usually writing because I always publish before we come on air every day. So I'm listening to Trey Gowdy, and he has been on some of the coverage since he's been in the courtroom on the Fox News Channel during the day. And I heard him say that, I don't like to criticize judges. He's very kind. He's got a real Southern gentleman way about him. So he said, look, I don't like to criticize judges. He said, and in fact, because he was a prosecutor, he said, I typically favor. He's just being honest. I like that. I appreciate that. He said, but he sees that this Juan Merchan is incredible to the prosecutors and just horrible to the defense. I'm telling you right now, this was a very, very tough case for the defense to put on. Think about it. They don't even know what they're charged with. They didn't know who the witnesses were going to be until the last second. This was disgusting, disgraceful what this Merchan did in this courtroom. And constantly sustaining anything the prosecution does and hammering the defense. Even Trey Gowdy, who's not a Trump fan, I can tell. He's not an overt Trump hater either. But you can tell he's not a Trump fan. He was saying how unfair Merchan's courtroom is. And it is. It truly is. Well, let me get this in. I'm only going to say it once. I did tell you yesterday, Fani Willis won her election, and it wasn't even close. It was like, I have the results here in my trusty H phone. She won something like 87% to 13% over somebody named Smith. She won by 66,092 votes. So the Fulton County DA, but that's why it's Fulton County. So I told you she was going to win. We don't lie to you. And also Judge McAfee won, and he's terrible. I want to get this in because, boy, they love to tell you how many votes Nikki Haley gets, and they try to make Trump look like, he's some kind of damaged front runner. Oh, how's he winning? A damaged front runner. Joe Biden had 18%. He was running against nobody. 18% of Kentucky voters voted uncommitted, voted against him. So I don't want to hear that Nikki Haley gets 10% or 15% or whatever, and then you not report what's going on with Joe Biden. We'll be back. It's 43 minutes past the hour. Wide open forum coming up for you right after the top of the hour news break. I hope that you will take full advantage of it at 609-407-1450. 8 o'clock hour, we'll tell you what we're doing when we get there. 9 o'clock hour, John Walters. I can't believe it, but it is literally the fourth Wednesday, and we're just a couple of days from Memorial Day weekend. This year it's not flying by. It's like speed of sound, speed of light. It is going so fast. John Walters, all about reverse mortgages in today's final hour, today's fourth quarter, today's 9 o'clock hour. This is
Hurley in the morning.
They really do separate fact from fiction.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5. You're waking up with Hurley in the morning on South Jersey's talk station, WPG Talk Radio 95.5, and the WPG Talk Radio app. You're waking up with Hurley in the morning.
Makes me think about things a little bit differently.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Thank you. Welcome back. It's 48 minutes past the hour on the Hurley in the Morning program. President Trump, and he's right about this, he has blasted Joe Biden. Joe Biden did it again. I mean, this guy has depleted our strategic petroleum reserves unlike any president in American history. I'm telling you, and he's going to be gone. The American people do not want more of this. I don't care if Trump is convicted, if he's convicted 100 times, because that's all the Democrats have. Oh, my God, no, you don't want to vote for Joe, but you, like James Comey. Oh, even if you don't like Joe Biden, you can't have this. I mean, they're trying to make Trump so unappealing, so unacceptable, so disqualified that you have to take Weekend at Bernie's. No thanks. No, sorry. Did you see the latest? He gave a speech before the NAACP. The White House had to make 9 corrections to his speech. He actually used the word erection in his speech. It's unbelievable what's going on. 9 corrections over that divisive, racist speech that he gave. But here he goes again. Joe Biden is releasing 1 million barrels of gas reserves. This is, again, to just fake and try to bring down prices. So he robbed the strategic petroleum reserves. Now he's robbing the gas reserves. Trump said he's unable to drill properly. Quote, he's destroyed everything we had. We were energy independent. We were shortly going to be energy dominant. And now we have to go into what's called the strategic reserves. Trump said if Biden is reelected, gas prices would increase to more than $10 a gallon. You know what? They lie about everything. That's what Trump has to just start saying that. Yeah, you can't prove they would, but it's likely they would go up. Quote, you better hope he doesn't get reelected. He's trying to stop that because I guess high prices are not good for elections, but nothing he's done has been good for elections. Under Biden, energy costs, especially the price of electricity, up nearly 30%. This is according to a Wall Street Journal analysis of data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Electricity prices are up 29.4% since January of 2021. They've risen 13 times faster than the previous 7 years. This is all fact. It's not opinion. all objective data. Electricity prices rose a mere 5% in the 7 years before Biden took office. Obviously, 4 of those years, Trump. Gasoline prices in the United States, we've been telling you about this, they've soared to a 6-month high, reaching an average of $3.60 per gallon, and that's just for regular unleaded. If you use the premium, super, or whatever your particular blend calls it, it's like $4.20 right now. This is a more than 50% increase since Joe Biden took office. Over the past month alone, pump prices have gone up over 20 cents a gallon. The current price is about, what, $1.60 more than when President Trump left office? When President Trump left office, let's not forget, inflation was 1.4%, and the average cost of a gallon of gasoline was a little over $2 a gallon. This is... Who would want more of this guy? Oh, it's going to be so close. Yeah, really? Then people are pretty sick then. Because, come on, who wants more of this? I mean, you should go get analyzed if you want more of this. Hey, this was fun. I meant to mention this in my opening comments. Lanny Davis, who I can kind of take or leave. I'm not a big fan. Very Democrat. Former Trump attorney Michael Cohen's testimony, even though it's tainted because he's a convicted perjurer, is not necessarily needed for the New York prosecution in President Trump's case. This is Lanny Davis saying this yesterday. All right, so let me think about this. They haven't made any case. And Michael Cohen is their star witness. And Lanny Davis, who was an attorney of Michael Cohen, who for some reason all of a sudden the media calls him Cohn, like David Cohn, C-O-N-E, instead of C-O-H-E-N. Just take note to that. It's I have to tell you, it's like it's a blessing and a curse that I just pick up on every little nuance. I wish I didn't. I'm going to maybe work on being less observant. Because when you see all these things, it's a burden. Because a lot of people, not you, but a lot of people don't see it. So it's like they just think everything, no, I don't see it. I don't see that. How do you see that? Well, I want to turn it on you. How do you not see it? What do you mean? I got to explain why I do see it? I got to tell you why I see Joe Biden shaking the hands of people that aren't there? You didn't see that? No, I didn't see that. Yeah, well, I did. So Lanny Davis thinks they don't need Michael Cohen's testimony. Then somebody help me then, because I don't know what case they have. They have nothing. Michael Cohen was their entire case. And I love all love the Democrat media. Yeah, Michael Cohen, yeah, it's amazing. He admitted to embezzling $30,000. He billed Trump $50,000, but he only paid $20,000 for the polling data, and he pocketed the $30,000. He's admitted to this, so this is not a theory. It's not an opinion. Cohen admitted to it. But you have these Democrats on MSNBC and elsewhere. They actually say it's not really a problem, though. He was just rebounding. He was just taking his bonus that he felt he had been cheated of. Oh, so now you make up new rules. You just steal, and it's okay because you got an explanation to why you're stealing. Also, and I'm glad I mentioned this yesterday, and I was wondering to what extent would Biden and his foolish administration take any heat on the fact that they offered official condolences on the death of the butcher of Tehran, Ibrahim Raisi. See, I said to you yesterday, I said, why'd they do that? Why would you do that? This guy was one of the main architects of the 1988 massacre in Iran. It killed 5,000 of their opponents. He has regularly trashed the United States of America, death to America, death to Israel, all of that. He talks about the Zionist regime's crimes against humanity in Gaza. You don't do this. Quote, under the butcher of Tehran, Iran armed and assisted terrorists with American blood on their hands, Senator Tom Cotton. And I will tell you what I thought was terrific. Wish I had a few more minutes on this. And by the way, don't forget to call me. We've got this whole hour that we put aside for you to take full advantage of. 609-407-1450. But Ted Cruz had the opportunity. I've been waiting for someone, because I say it, but it's just to you guys. He said right to Anthony Blinken. He said, you and Joe Biden, you have funded Iran. You have funded the terrorism that is used against America. Well, he tried to feint outrage. I'm not even going to answer that. Well, you're under oath, pal. Yeah, you got to answer it. He didn't like that one bit. And he tried to say, oh, this is the most outrageous question anyone's ever asked. Ted Cruz didn't. He was unflappable. Didn't miss a beat and crushed him again with it. Because that's what they've done. Obama, Biden, and now Biden. They have funded to the tune of many billions of dollars the largest sponsor of terrorism on planet Earth, Iran. And that is a fair criticism. That's what they have done. 609-407-1450. I hope you'll call me right now.
WPGG Atlantic City. WENJ HD3 Millville. A Town Square media station. Everything you need to know in 6 minutes starts now. From Harry Hurley Way in the world's playground to the broadcast pioneers of Philadelphia Hall of Fame, you're about to find out why Harry Hurley has been named to the Talkers Magazine list of the 100 most important talk show hosts in the nation. Live from the studios of Town Square Media in Northfield, it's Hurley in the Morning on WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app.
Thank you for waking up early in the morning. 6 minutes past the hour. Phone lines are open this entire hour. Wide open forum, 609-407-1450. Hope you'll check in. Good morning. Welcome to the program. You're on the air.
Wow, so some people haven't noticed Joe Biden shaking hands with his imaginary friends. How about that?
I know.
Well, they must be drinking too much of the Kool-Aid then, right? Maybe, I don't know. But while it's fresh in the news, I wanted to bring up this recent crash that happened over the weekend, which killed the president.
Whoa, Flash, do me a favor. Let me just show you to what degree. And again, there's a difference between missing something and being completely dishonest about it. Please remember right where you were just a second ago, and let me just squeeze this in, because this is a perfect example to what you just said. Bill Maher was on The View. He's written a book, which I would never buy, and a show that I will never watch. But I keep on top of these things, even if they're just horrible people doing horrible things. Bill Maher is actually better than most on that side. He used to be just as bad, but for some reason, he's only half as bad now. So he's on there, and he talks about Biden is like a cadaver. And then Joy Behag says, but his mind is sharp. Okay? Now, how does somebody say that? His mind is sharp? His mind is not the least bit sharp.
Yeah, we're saying the emperor has no clothes. That's what it is.
They just lie. They lie to your face. They don't care. They hate Trump so much. This would never be acceptable. Come on. I mean, the guy does a speech before the NAACP. He says the word erections. He makes 9 mistakes that the White House quietly tries to correct. This is their big thing. That's why people talk about, well, history will get all this settled. I say, no, it won't. The White House actually redoes what Biden says. There's not going to be a written record about all these things that he did. They completely alter records, and then things that were perfectly audible, they write inaudible. They act like they're being transparent and honest and upfront. For example, when he said 4 more years, and then he went, pause. They put inaudible. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, they must have Alzheimer's too. They keep people keeping records. I imagine.
No, they're just trying to make him look good.
That's it. Yeah. Now I've seen different sites on YouTube saying, was Mossad behind the downing of the helicopter? Was Israel behind it? Who cares, man? Well, if Mossad took that helicopter down, good on them. I mean, I'm not 100% pro-secular Israel. I'm actually a Gentile Christian that believes that Yeshua HaMashiach, that Jesus is the Messiah, and that Jewish Messiah is going to rule from Jerusalem and Israel. So from that point of view, yeah, I'm unconditionally pro-Israel, of course. But, I'm not pro-West. I think the West sucks, man, anymore. I mean, the West, we're supposed to be the best, but we're just as sneaky and shady as the rest of them are. But that's how I feel about it now. My whole world's been rearranged past 2001, so it is what it is. But Mossad took him down because there was a pleader for Raisi saying, well, the difference between the people in Israel and the people of Iran. Well, the people hate Netanyahu, but they loved Raisi. Give it a rest, man, because 75% of the people there feared and loathed him. They didn't love President. He scared the crap out of them, is what it is. So we all know, people that are paying attention to what's going on know that that whole area is a powder keg, whether it's Eastern Europe and Ukraine or in the Near East and Israel or the surrounding Islamist countries. That is a powder keg for World War III. So here's a guy he's called the butcher of Tehran because he's killing his own people. So here's a guy that's lobbing rockets into Israel, about to spark World War III, and he was killed. God bless Israel then. Thanks.
Thank you, Flash. 609-407-1415, open phone line at 10 minutes past the hour. Welcome to Hurley in the Morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, I know you don't like to view. I don't watch it, but I will catch things on YouTube. But I forced myself to watch Robert De Niro. But the funny thing, well, it's not really funny, but what he said was, we can't have him as president because he says what he's going to do. And I'm like, yeah, that's why we voted for him.
You know what? I used to really like The View when it was Barbara Walters and Meredith Vieira and Elizabeth Hasselbeck. I wasn't a big fan of Lisa Ling. I interviewed her, and I just didn't care for her, but she was decent on the show. It was once a really good show.
Mm-hmm.
Not now.
Well, they had Barbara Walters.
Well, that's who I led with, yeah.
Yeah, right. And she kind of tried to even it out, and then Rosie O'Donnell, and then it started getting... And it's a shame thing about Whoopi Goldberg or her name, Karen, whatever her real name is. What an actress. I mean, what an actress. But to use that to be, I mean, let's tell you know what? It's not worth talking about.
You know the movie Multiplicity? This is the last, I know, I agree with you. It's not worth talking about, but let's just aggravate it a little bit more. Do you know the movie Multiplicity with Michael Keaton?
Yes.
Okay. For those who don't know it, it's a great movie. It's not going to win any awards or anything, but it's an entertaining movie. And he's just really busy, and he runs a company, and he needs help, and he's able to make clones of himself. So picture like the copy machine, and when you start making the copy of the copy and the copy of the copy of the copy of the copy of the copy, and you get to like the seventh one, and the guy's sticking pizza in his wallet, and dumb as can be, wearing like some kind of goggles and some kind of old aviator helmet, just dumb as can be, completely just stupid. That's what The View became. It was a really good show, but it's like they started making Xerox copies, and now all of a sudden you have this freak show that is completely unwatchable.
I agree. I just was thinking of something real quick. You had a commercial where all the older pilots get together, and they put the goggles on, and they all go flying together.
Oh, yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
That reminds me of my dad, because every year my dad was a member of the Tailhook Association, and every year his flight crew that was based here as the Crusaders, they flew F-8s out of here, out of Pomona. It was Naval Air Station. It just reminds me of it. I just think it's
like
such
that.
a cool commercial.
Yeah, I agree.
Love it.
Yeah.
Condolences to the butcher. I love the explanation. We care about all people who crash in helicopters. All right. Well, I cared deeply about Kobe Bryant and his daughter and the other passengers. Kind of a different situation. And I don't want to use a Nazi metaphor. All right, but I will. I mean, that's like I say, so sorry, Joseph Mengele, that you died in South America. We wish you could have died here so we could have had a parade for you, the angel of death, during the Holocaust. One thing I caught the other day, and I'm sorry that you feel that way, Flash, about Jews, but that's okay. About the Biden reversal, about sending arms and money to Israel on the raid on Rafah. A blonde lady was filling in on the View. She had black glasses, and about the reversal of sending the money, she said, "Well, Israel was getting ready to massacre a bunch of children," and no one said anything, not even Greg Gutfeld. But you know what they do? They use the children and women as human shields.
Yeah.
But they didn't do that. They didn't do that on October 7th. They put the kids, they chopped babies' heads off. They threw babies into ovens. They killed women, raped women. And, I mean, so, that's when I just can't stand when somebody who's such a blatant, blind Joe Biden, like this, I call it the idiot seat on the 5. But I like Harold a little bit. But just a bonus statement, I have an electric scooter, and you never know when this son of a gun is going to run out. And that's all I can think about electric cars. You really never know, what you got left. And if you run out of gas or you run out of power, nobody can come up. I mean, if you run out of electricity, they can't run up to the side of the road and give you a gallon of electricity. That's all I got. Thank you.
This was such a good call. So good. Let me comment on a couple pieces of that, and then we have to step aside for just a little bit, and I hope you'll join us. The phone lines are clear for the first time this hour, 609-407-1450, but we're off to a nice gold rush start there with Flash and with Andrea. 609-407-1450. A friend of mine was telling me a story. You get the electric car, and it tells you how many miles you have until empty. If you note, with the newer cars, you also have that feature with gasoline. With gasoline, it's correct. It's uncanny correct. It's really good. But with the electric car, you could be on uneven terrain, uphill and different things, and not have nearly as many miles as you thought you did. It's totally unreliable. And you don't know where you can charge it. And this is so typical for the control socialist Democrats that want to change everything. We were energy independent. We were a net oil exporter. Gasoline was a couple dollars a gallon. A reasonable amount of money. You could put quite a bit into your tank. And they want to change all that. In other words, solution to something that there wasn't a problem. Back in a moment, 609-407-1450. I hope you'll check in. This portion of Hurley in the Morning brought to us in part by Congress Hall, from presidents to musicians, artists, dignitaries, esteemed guests for more than 200 years. And of course, your company is requested. Congress Hall stands as the grandest of them all in Cape May, an icon of relaxed elegance and warm hospitality, welcoming generations of travelers since 1816. And we love it there. Classic American charm. From the minute you walk in the door, you'll see the marble-floored lobby, the American flags that line the historic hallway, the spacious ocean view guest rooms and suites. An overnight stay at Congress Hall actually feels like you're stepping into your own little cottage by the sea, paired with world-class amenities, healthy indulgences, Congress Hall Sea Spa, which is great, and you have hearty farm fresh favorites at the Blue Pig Tavern, cocktails at the Brown Room Lounge, pizza and more down in the Boiler Room, dancing as well. Congress Hall has it all. And a spring midweek stay means less crowds and better rates. Book your stay at caperesorts.com/Congress Hall. Congress Hall, America's first seaside resort. Tell them that Hurley in the Morning sent you. Back after this, 609-407-1450. Call me now. Phone lines are open.
Starting your day the right way with Hurley in the Morning.
We need to just listen to the facts.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Turn up your radio. Here's the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
And the judge basically, attacking Bob Costello and accusing Cohn of multiple acts because he's basically saying that Cohn is not telling the truth. He's impeaching the testimony of the star witness. Costello is one of the most experienced lawyers in New York, a former prosecutor. He's done this his whole life. And at one point, he just says, this is ridiculous, and he's like rolling his eyes. And the judge chastises and challenges him, are you staring me down? Clear the courtroom. What are you talking about? What is wrong with this guy? He's not well. Maybe he sees his invitations to all of New York society about to be, that rug is about to be pulled out from underneath him.
Check out the Sean Hannity radio show later today, right here.
Hey, are you ready to give your home a summer makeover that will make some serious waves? Well, Blinds.com can help with savings up to 50% off at their Memorial Day sale happening right now. Blinds.com invented the better way to get custom window treatments online and, of course, always upfront pricing. Now, no more salespeople at your door, inflated showroom prices. You can upgrade your window coverings. Now, that can be a minor project that has a major impact. Blinds.com, they make it simple and easy and affordable. And Blinds.com, they offer free design consultation, and they'll help you pick the perfect window treatments for your home. And by the way, you get unlimited window treatments installed for one low cost, and everything backed by Blinds.com and their 100% satisfaction guarantee. Shop Blinds.com's Memorial Day sale happening right now for up to 50% off, plus premium doorbusters up to 50% off now at Blinds.com through May 29th. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Listen at home or in the office on your smart speaker. Just say, play WPG. You're waking up with Hurley in the Morning.
Egg Harbor Township, Ocean City, Goshen, Cape May.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app.
Thank you. Taking your phone calls all this hour long. And then what we're going to do in the 8 o'clock hour, unless something changes all of this, it's possible. But I don't think it will happen today. But we could have a mystery appearance that we'll tell you about if it's happening today. But if it doesn't, and I don't think it will, I have a topic that I think is going to be, how do I say this? I don't want to say popular, but I think you'll want to participate. I don't want to say it now. I'll say it at the end of the hour, but I definitely will need your participation. Then what I think I'm going to do is, and we do this from time to time, I will take your content and I will follow up with a digital piece on the WPG Talk Radio 95.5 app. 609-407-1450. Open forum continues. Guest listener Dennis, I don't have it in front of me, but he also talked about how if you use the air conditioning system, and he said something else, I don't remember, that also lessens the amount of miles. And it's true. That's why I'm telling you it's not reliable. It really isn't. These EVs, I'm just not a fan. A lot of people like them, and a lot of people don't like them. And I will tell you, I don't like to play in that space where, and some people do, they take their tank down all the way to like near empty. I try to fill my car when I'm at half a tank. When it got completely out of control, I now have been doing it at about a quarter of a tank. But I always used to do it at half a tank. I don't want to be down where like you could get busy. You just, or something can happen. You could get a detour. We see them all the time now. And if you wait till, and I'll tell you another thing, if you take the car down to near empty, these fuel injected cars, there's sediment in the bottom of your tank. If you take it all the way down to there, you can clog the, I'm not a car expert, but you can clog the fuel injectors. I don't like to get anywhere near empty at all. And that's what happens. You're playing with the electric stuff. I know someone that actually, they didn't realize it, but they didn't have nearly the amount of miles that the car said they still had because they started to go uphill. And it burned the energy at a much different pace than the person had originally thought. Welcome to Hurley in the Morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Harry. Steve from Absecon Island.
Hey, Steve.
How you doing?
Hey, Steve,
today?
you got to do me a favor because someone did comment about you the other day. Where did you get your handle? Like, I'm Harry from Egg Harbor Township. I could be Harry, formerly of Atlantic City. But you are Steve of Absecon Island. Is that because you don't want to pinpoint exactly where you are? Could you just humor me and our listeners? Where did you get that from?
Sure. Well, that's one reason. And the other reason is I love that movie Braveheart where Steven says, I'm Steven, and that's my island, if you remember that.
Okay, I do. Yeah. Okay, I got it now.
I'm kind of doing kind of like a little humor there.
I like
it.
And please, don't change. I appreciate you explaining it.
And nobody else had that moniker.
Oh, so I've been doing this 32 years. That's your own, pun intended, that's your own island, Steve. No one's ever done it.
Absolutely. And I haven't really, I only just started calling in on a regular basis to both your show and the John DeMasi show on the weekend.
Okay.
And, I enjoy the topicalities that come up, and I find it very important.
Well, I think you're going to like the topic in the 8 o'clock hour. It's going to be very relatable to everybody, but we'll get to that. Anyhow, Steve, what's on your mind?
Well, I wanted to let you know that to follow up from my last call about what's going on in Israel and Biden blocking the arms shipment. I had called Congressman Van Drew's office probably on your prodding, where you say give him a chance. And, when I wrote to him about certain things and I just got the form letter back, well, I did call his office. He called me directly yesterday, and he gave me 15 minutes of his time. And I thought that was wonderful.
He's a good man.
Well, absolutely. I mean, when a congressman calls his constituents out of the, when I called the office, I said, here's my telephone number, here's what my concern is. And he called back, and we had a meaningful conversation where he would talk for, say, 2-3 minutes. Then he would stop. I would talk for 2 or 3 minutes and listen intently. I would stop, and it went back like that, up and back for about 15 minutes. I was thrilled to death. He's on board with putting pressure on the Biden administration to provide arms to Israel to get rid of these terrorists. He is on board with that, no doubt about it.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely the right thing.
Yeah, and the other topic I wanted to bring up this morning, you were talking about the EVs.
Yeah,
I see it this way. As you do. The EVs, time to charge and fuel density. Those are the two characteristics of EVs that gasoline engines beat them hands down. What's it take? 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes to fill up a 20-gallon gas tank?
Exactly. And away you go, and you have that for, a considerable period, unless you're taking a long trip right from the gas station. It's much over many, many generations. I wrote an article about a year ago, and I didn't even realize it until I did my homework, to the degree that electric cars have been around for a really long time. This is not new. I mean, the technology is at another level than previously, but electric cars were available in the past, and there was a push back then. This is like 100 years ago. There was a push to go from the combustion engine. Then the people revolted. They didn't want it, and it didn't happen.
Yeah, I'm on board with that. I have knowledge of that. I'm an engineer, electrical engineer,
So
and I read the history of that.
Yep.
The other thing is the fuel density. You take a 5-gallon gasoline can, one of the red cans, 5 gallons. Takes you a minute to fill that up, it plus or minus 10% on either side. And then on top of it, if you're even getting 20 miles a gallon, you got 100-mile capacity. And a gallon of water weighs about 8 pounds. Well, a 5-gallon gas tank weighs about, 8 times 5, 40 pounds perhaps. You can carry 40 pounds from, say, if you get stuck on the parkway from a gas station back to your car. How are you can't carry batteries.
No, you can't carry the batteries, and I don't even think, like, a lot of times if you're on the parkway, you just need like a gallon, and that wouldn't be anywhere. But I hear what you're saying. That wouldn't be anywhere near 40 pounds. And yeah, you have a fighter's chance. People want what they want. If you want this, I think it should be available. But to the degree that they are pushing it and sabotaging the combustion engine and all the bad stuff that they're doing is just not necessary.
Absolutely. And my final comment, I watched the Gutfeld Bill Maher segment on the Gutfeld show when he had Bill Maher pitching his book. Boy, Gutfeld really gutted him, no pun intended.
Well, he had so much. See, remember, Bill Maher has changed a bit, but he still wants to be loved by the radical left. So it was much easier. I'm not taking away from Gutfeld, but his truth is something that Bill Maher doesn't want to embrace. So I much would rather have what Gutfeld had to bring than what Bill Maher was trying to sell.
Bill Maher just threw out ad hominems.
Yeah.
He's a radical. Trump's a radical.
Yeah.
Trump's going to get rid of the Constitution with no,
which is
with
not,
no
is,
fact.
yeah, totally,
No fact.
totally
All
ridiculous.
All fictional stuff.
Yeah.
And, Gutfeld filleted him, quite honestly. And so did the other.
Hey, if you want to look at who's trying to gut the Constitution, look at this lawfare. Look at all this stuff they're doing to their political enemies. I mean, they're the practitioners of everything that they're blaming that Trump would supposedly do, that he didn't do in 4 years, that he has no intentions of doing this time.
Well, and that's why a lot of people are very hesitant to speak their mind, even over talk show radios like yours, because we don't have all the money in the world to protect ourselves, right? We don't have that FU money, if you will.
Yeah.
And people like you who are on the radio, boy, you you guys take a chance. You really do.
Well, I'm still a believer that there's more of us than there are of them. And, I'm not ever going to sell out. I'm just not going to do it. Steve from Absecon Island. Have a great day. Got to run. I'm about 3-4 minutes late for the break. Lance, you're going to be next. Don't go away. And you can join us after Lance at 609-407-1450. This is the Hurley in the Morning program. I think I can't wait to take more of your calls this hour, but I think you're going to love the topic in the 8 o'clock hour. And I know a few things that I want to share relative to the topic, but I believe you will add things that I just have not encountered or never thought of. It's going to be good. It's coming up next.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
Thank you. It's Harry Hurley. 3 stories that you can follow on the WPG Talk Radio 95.5 app. An Atlantic City candidate, imagine this, without any conflicts of interest, is going to run. Nobody's got jobs and all this. Wow, that's novel. Crime allegations lead to low morale at the Atlantic City Public Schools. And at 11 a.m. this morning, maybe a few ticks before even, I'm breaking major news about a federal criminal investigation.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. 60-ish this morning, 83 this afternoon, although it will be cooler right along the coast again. Mostly sunny skies, another summer-like day. There is a chance of a pop-up shower or thunderstorm after sunset tonight. Partly cloudy, somewhat sticky overnight, low 67. 81 tomorrow, pretty humid, increasing clouds with scattered thunderstorms likely. We're still holding 80 on Friday. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
New Jersey voters. You're waking up with Hurley in the morning. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Hurley in the morning.
Harry Hurley is the only person on the radio who isn't afraid to speak the truth about what's really happening in Atlantic City.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
By the way, Steve, my friend Steve is about 30 feet from me. Could I see your eyes just for a second? I want to tell you something. We were having a conversation about this gasoline thing. Do you know that in a car, that's hysterical. Do you know that in a car, if a lot of times people forget which side the gas fill is in their car? Are you aware?
I am.
Okay, so I'll put your mic on for a second. You're aware of the crutch that's available.
Yep. You want me to say what it is?
Go ahead.
The little triangle.
Yes.
There's a little triangle that points in the direction of the tank.
And it's on the side. If it's on the left, it's on the left side. If it's on the right, it's on the right side. My car is on the right side. But there are a lot of people that they forget where the fill is. You don't have to worry about it. Your car will tell you if you look for exactly what Steve just shared. That's a cool little fun fact.
Don't you think that they should make the hoses long enough to reach over? Like if you would go to Sam's Club, the gas over there.
In other words, if you made a mistake, it should be able to be overcome.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's another thing I watched somebody do right in front of me. They pulled out before they took the thing out. They're now made to disconnect from, they have a breakaway feature now. I watched it happen.
That would be bad.
Yeah, I know. Good to see you, Steve. So that little trick is available to you. That little triangle is, not only does it point, but it's on the side. So if it's on the left side of the little gas tank that's on your dashboard, then your fill is on the left side of the car. If it's on the right, it's on the right side. Mine is on the right side. Lance, what do you know?
This is Lance from Conover Town.
I love that. Hey, by the way, Conover checked in and had a great fun fact that is in my article that I did over a year ago. In 1910, 33% of the American auto market was electric cars. 1910. By 1920, they were gone.
Well, that's the, I have to say, that's the creature from Jekyll Island, brother. That's
there you go.
The creature from Jekyll Island. That's where the Federal Reserve took it. That's where they just stopped the easy way, the proper way, and the most efficient way.
There you go.
Your previous callers time it says these things that were hysterical, funny. You know what the View reminds me of? The creation of the thing called the turducken.
Oh, I love John Madden talking about, you got the turducken, you got the turkey, you got the duck, you turducken. Oh, I used to love John Madden with the turducken.
And the thing is that when they ate it, they devoured it like cannibals. It's like, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
This is a request. You used to have, the last couple of years, especially during COVID, that superintendent from Cape May, really pleasant guy, very informative.
Yeah, what happened is, Bob, he retired. So it's not that he wouldn't ever come back, but he retired and he left the area. Bob Gargiulo. Yeah, we did great work together.
Right. I just wanted to, if you could reach out to him personally and just say, what's your feel? My dog is walking away here. What's your feel in regards to the superintendent's thing going on in Atlantic City? Because I can understand the morale. I mean, it's abysmal.
It's terrible. There's people out now, I don't want to get into who they are or anything, but there are people out on stress leave. It is a terrible situation. And when you have a leader at the top who is multiple criminally charged and they're allowing this to go on, and I'll tell you what, it's now Wednesday and the state has not stepped in. This is a tragedy what's going on. And I have to say, and I like him, I saw him recently, Tim Mancuso, he has been a disgrace as the union president. And I think I helped put him over the top. He was in a very close election. He is a disgrace. How could the president of the teachers union come out and support someone who's criminally charged in the manner that he did? So they're getting sold out by their own people. That's nothing new about that. That's as old as time. Because obviously that gets him curry favor so that he doesn't get put in a closet instead of a nice office or something else done. It's my understanding that somebody, and I'm going to be interviewing this person, someone posted something on social media and got suspended right away. Lance, there is, I don't even have to ask Bob Gargiulo. There is so much bad going on right now.
Well, Harry, the last thing I can say is, unfortunately, sometimes even Archimedes with the lever, you can move the world, but sometimes there's stuff on the end of that lever that these people are bought and paid for it. And anybody that keeps their mouth shut when there's something so hideous and so wrong and so hypocritical, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. Lance, thanks. Have a great day. Let's take one more call before the final break of this hour. Then we'll be able to take another call or so on the other side. And I missed it. Charlie, if you want to call back, I was just going to bring you on. Let me get the break in now. It is 43 minutes past the hour on the Hurley in the Morning program.
Mark Levin.
Now Donald Trump. What they're doing to Donald Trump, they're laughing at us all over the world. Our enemies are thrilled. They're laughing at us all over the world. It's sickening. And I'm telling you, come thick or thin, no matter what comes, hell or high water, this man must get reelected. That is, elected for a second term. It must happen.
Mark Levin on South Jersey's talk station, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Hurley in the morning.
They always have great conversation.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Thank you. Welcome back. 47 minutes past the hour. Phone lines are open. 609-407-1415. Open phone line. Welcome to Hurley in the Morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Harry.
Oh, well, this distinct voice, you can't hide. I know who you are, my friend.
I was laughing when you were talking about the arrow for the gas tank.
I know.
The filler. I wish they would do something to remind people to use their turn signals.
How about that? That's true.
Funny.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. We're looking forward to your golf tournament.
I'm so happy you'll be with us. Thank you.
Yeah. And then could I give Janice a little plug?
Of course. Go.
All right. Janice Johnson has her fundraiser tonight at Josie Kelly's at 5:30. It's going to be a very, very nice affair. They got the Billy Walton band playing, and it's $40 at the door, and I guarantee you, you'll have a great time.
Outstanding. Looking forward to seeing you very, very soon, Charlie, and hope all is well.
Yeah, everything's good. I'm on my way to Urco school.
There you go. Good.
All right, see you, Harry.
See you, Charlie. You do the same, my friend. 609-407-1450, an open phone line if you'd like to check in. I just need the last minute or two of the hour because I want to set the topic for the 8 o'clock hour. I have a prediction, and I'm usually right because they're not really predictions. They're very well calculated. Here's my my prediction. The topic will fly by. The hour will seem like seconds. And I believe, I don't want to jinx us, I believe there will be great participation because it's a very relatable topic that we all have experience with. And we've all had something happen that when I give you the topic, it will come immediately to your mind. 609-407-1450, an open phone line. You can check in. Welcome to Hurley in the Morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Harry.
Good morning.
Thanks for taking my call. I wasn't prepared. I thought it would take a little while. I'm only calling. I could talk to you about a million things, but I'm only calling because what your last caller just said. Excuse me. I don't want any, in case people that are listening don't know, I don't want anyone to think that I'm plugging anything, but I'm telling you now, the band he just mentioned, the Billy Walton band.
Oh, yeah.
If you're a music person, this band is ridiculously good.
They're great. They're wonderful. They're professional caliber, high quality, wonderful. I love them. I saw them a few times last year and look forward to this summer and love the Summers Point concert series. It's fantastic.
Yes, he surrounds himself with great artists.
By the way, what's the name of the female singer that performed with him last year in Summers Point? I had not ever saw her perform before then. She was, elite star quality.
Yes. I can't remember her name, and I personally haven't seen him in a while because of my life. Life got in the way and I got busy. But when I first started watching Billy years ago, I caught him at Breeze's sitting alone on a picnic table having a beer, and I said, screw this, I'm just going to go over and talk to this guy. He is the nicest guy on the planet, and I said to him, what are you doing here? Meaning, why aren't you Jimi Hendrix? He looked at me and he looked up, and there was a full moon over the bridge, and he said, I'm playing for my friends and family on the deck here. I felt like such a jerk because he's not into that. He's not into being the newest thing. He's just into music, and he brings kids in from Stockton that don't even know how to play. By the end of the summer, they're quality horn sections.
Yeah.
So he's the most, his families, I got to meet his mom and stuff. They're wonderful people. And the quality of his music is off the charts.
Yep, agreed. No doubt about it.
That's all I have to say.
Thank
Sorry.
you. You got it. No, nothing to be sorry about. Let's see if Charlie forgot something that's important. Charlie?
Destiny Monroe.
Oh, there you go. Thank you, Charlie. She is great. I love that. Ask and you shall receive. This portion of Hurley in the Morning brought to us in part. And Don Hurley just texted me with the name. He's on delay. He would have got it right away, too. You'll hear, Don, that Charlie got it right before you literally just texted me with it. I knew Don would know. And so now I've seen it twice in 10 seconds. It's just the nature of how that happens. This portion of our program brought to us in part by Batteries Plus Bulbs. Now, in terms of where they are, they're right next door, literally right next door to Broadcast Center. So if you know where we are, you know where they are. And they do a great job. If you have a car, a truck, marine, RV, camper, golf cart, ATV, mobility scooter, motorcycle, anything on wheels, and you need a new battery, they've got it. if you're getting ready for the storm season, if you need LED, emergency lighting, a portable generator. I will tell you, I had a portable generator on loan, and what a game changer. When we lost power one time during one of the bad storms, we did not have electricity for 3 days. And boy, do I wish I had a Generac then. But a friend, and he might be listening, Greg, loaned me a generator, and it was game-changing. All of our computers, all of our cell phones, we were able to keep them charged. We were able to plug in the refrigerator, which was enormous, because we lost in one of the power outages. We lost hundreds of dollars. It was a shame. I mean, I just wanted to call the whole region in and just cook it all. Filet mignons and steak burgers and hot dogs and chicken. Oh, we lost so much in that freezer. So having that backup is huge. So portable generator right from Batteries Plus right here in Northfield, also in Mount Laurel. If you've got a broken cell phone, maybe the screen is cracked or one of the ports is broken, the speakers, the microphones, pretty much anything inside the phone, they can fix it. Batteries Plus, they can fix it. 900 Tilton Road in Northfield, Route 73 in Mount Laurel. Stop into one of their locations and enter to win a pair of tickets to see Journey and Def Leppard. 609-407-1450. I'm going to take one more call because I need the last minute or so to set the topic up for the 8 o'clock hour that I'm predicting is going to be a hit. We've never done the topic before in 32 years. I think you're going to like it. Welcome to Hurley in the Morning. You're on the air.
I'm sorry to call back, Harry, but I just wanted to remind you, if you remember when you pulled up to the pump, you had gasoline, you had diesel. Now, Greg's truck is diesel. There used to be not a differentiation, so you had to watch, which type of fuel they put in, and it was devastating and very, very dangerous. But now there is a distinction with the nozzle and stuff like that, but that used to happen quite a lot.
Very good.
You have explosions, fires, everything like that. And I just want to say I am a member and my husband of the Republican Club, and we just love Charlie and Janice. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Andrea. They're great people. A little fun fact on top of that, and some people know this and some people don't know it, but the oil that you burn in your oil tank, I learned this from Ken Adams. I didn't know this. And we had oil for decades. I was so happy, though, when they finally brought the natural gas into the Scullville section of EHT. I didn't mind oil, but it's just so much nicer, the natural gas. We had oil when I was a child, and, you're measuring the tank and, always just having to do things that you don't have to do with natural gas. But here's a fun fact. And I wish I would have known this, because you never know when you're going to have an emergency, and if you can't get it that same day, diesel fuel, you can pour that right into your oil tank, and you're good to go. I thought that diesel was different than the oil that went into the oil tank. So that is something, if you never knew that, maybe you can't afford the big order that you usually get and you just need a break. If you have the red gasoline containers, you can get the diesel, and you can pour a few gallons in there and, keep you going. So that's something that it's a good piece of knowledge to have. All right, so here is our topic when we come back. I've got a couple stories that I could tell, but I want you to burn up the phone lines, and I believe once we have the first guest listener caller that brings up their own story on this topic, away we go, and it will be call after call after call. Because I think there's enough things where, sometimes you have a narrow topic, and if there's only a couple of things, well, then it's like, oh, somebody already had what I would have said. There's so many things that can happen. So the topic, when we come back for the next hour, and I love it when we do these kinds of topics together. We haven't done it in a little while. Talk about an experience that you have had on an airplane. And there's so many things that can happen. God, I can think of 5 or more off the top of my head. I don't want to say any of them because they might be similar to things that you would bring up. An experience that you have had could be passengers on the plane, something that happened with someone sitting nearby you that you weren't with, but they were very near where you were, things that come up. If I don't see the phone lines ringing, I'll give a couple of items just to get it sort of the pump primed. And then what we know is usually when we pick a topic, it works and we can do it for the full hour. If it bombs spectacularly, we'll pivot and we'll do something else. But that's what I'm looking to do. Something that you think of that's happened to you on an airplane when we come back. We will talk reverse mortgages with John Walters in the 9 o'clock hour. And a reminder, at or before 11 a.m. this morning, I think it might be a little bit before 11 o'clock. Some of my information's embargoed. We are breaking news about, and we'll break it first, but that's what we do. We do it every day. We will break the news of a federal criminal investigation. Maybe I'll tell you where before the end of the program, but probably not. But look for that. No later, it's done, it's written, and all I have to do is hit the publish button. You'll know it by 11 o'clock this morning. All right, Airplane, your story's next. Call me.
WPGG Atlantic City, WENJ HD3 Millville, a Town Square media station. Everything you need to know in 6 minutes starts now. From Harry Hurley Way in the world's playground to the broadcast pioneers of Philadelphia Hall of Fame, you're about to find out why Harry Hurley has been named to the Talkers Magazine list of the 100 most important talk show hosts in the nation. Live from the studios of Town Square Media in Northfield, it's Hurley in the Morning on WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app.
Thank you. Welcome back. It's not even 6 minutes past the hour. Let's make it count, and let's see how this does. I will tell you, I might have to work this a little bit in order for it to take shape here, take root. All right, I'm going to share with you an example, true life example, and I had to deal with this for about an hour, almost 2 hours. Probably was a little bit more than 2 hours. It all depends. I'm talking about an ACY flight from Atlantic City to Orlando. So, and I have two that are just off the top of my head, and I'm curious if you've ever had anything similar or, in fact, your own unique experiences. That's the whole thing about flying, because you never know. You never know who you're going to sit next to, smells, and all kinds of different things. So I'm minding my own business. I have 2 quick stories for you. It might inspire you to check in and share yours. And I didn't do anything about it. You know, you just live with it. You know, I'm just not like that. I don't cause any scene. You know, sometimes people think because you host a talk show that you must be some kind of nightmare in public or something to say about everything. I'm just the opposite. I don't say anything. I'm quiet as can be and mind my own business. So I'm on the plane, and it was just totally unexpected. All of a sudden, the person in front of me, and I didn't even know who the person in front of me was, if it was a man, if it was a woman. I just, you know, when I sat down in my seat, I don't even think there was anybody sitting in that chair right in front of me. So all of a sudden, the arms go up in the air, and whoosh, this long hair comes flying over on my side of the chair. So, you know, you're sitting in your chair, but you got to figure anything you fly over behind you, So the entire flight, it's like Cousin It is in front of me. I got this whole mop of hair in front of me the whole time. Now, I don't know what you would do about that. I thought about it. You know, do you say something like, hey, can you move your hair? Do you just take it? So for the whole flight, I had the hair. Tell you another one that happened. And I don't think the shares do that anymore. In one of the iterations, you know, Spirit Air, in that Airbus that they fly, the leg room just seems to get less and less and less and less, because if you take a little bit of leg room from each person, before you know it, you have a whole nother row of chairs. I think they're pretty much at the max now, because you have the big chairs in the front, then the second row, you know, has decent, and some are even the third row are now 2 seats and big chair. So here's another one that happened to me. Right before, you know, we've taken off, and then they make it that, you know, you can move about the cabin and you don't have to have the seatbelt on. I always keep it on because you never know when you could hit. I had it happen before. It was a different plane. It was a German technology. It was a Dornier plane. And man, Margie and I, we were on this plane, and it was like dropping out of the sky. People were yelling, "We're going to die." I mean, people were really scared on this particular flight. It was menacing. But I'm minding my own business, and all of a sudden, whammo! I mean, like fast. The recline, now I don't think they do that anymore. I think they have them set now so you can't recline backwards. But this person was like almost in my lap, the way those chairs would lean back. And that was for an entire flight. And it just made for 2 horrible experiences. Let's see what you've got. 609-407-1450, an open phone line. And I didn't say anything on that one either. Welcome to Hurley in the Morning. You're on the air.
Hello. Talking about airplane experiences. Sometimes you can get the news months before it actually happens. I was on a plane one time, and there was a man sitting next to me. He had a great big briefcase, and he started sending all kinds of paperwork out on his tray table. And then eventually he ran out of space. He asked me if he could use my tray table too. So he put his papers down on my table. Turns out he was a lawyer drafting an agreement between Tasty Cake and a West Coast bakery. And that's how I knew Tasty Cake would spread nationwide.
How about that? That is a very cool story. Now I'm assuming that was, I'm a little familiar with Tasty Cake, so that was a number of years ago, correct?
Yes.
And the trays today, at least on the Airbus, they're now just this tiny little metal nothing tray. In the old days, you had a nice big tray. You could have a whole meal on it. It was very, very nice. So that wouldn't even work too well today to spread out like that.
Right.
I don't know if you've seen those new metal trays of today, but they're not what they used to be.
They're very tiny trays. I can barely fit my Coke on it.
Yeah, exactly. The old ones used to have a little indent like for a cup so that the cup didn't slide. Now it's just this little metal thing that barely, like you said, barely enough, you know, to put anything on it. If you have the row 1 is different. It's in the middle there. No, I take that back. It comes off the side of the armrest, and that one's pretty good size. And row 2 is like that as well. And if you have one of the ones, the Airbus with the row 3 with just 2 and not 3 seats, it does it the same way. And then in all the other ones, it pulls down off of the back of the seat that's in front of you, as you know. So you saw a whole deal go down.
Yes.
I like that. You also have like a broadcaster's voice, too, in case no one ever told you that before.
Oh, I didn't know that. A lot of people say I sound like Tippy Turtle.
No, you have good tonal quality. Very good.
Right.
Good story.
All right. Thank you for the compliment.
Yeah. I meant it. Absolutely.
All right. Bye.
Good to talk to you. Thanks. All right. So there you go. I've shared a couple. He just shared a good one. Oh, God. I have so many things that happened. one of my least favorite of all time. This was an absolutely terrible experience. And it was before they had direct flights to Las Vegas. So in my case, and I've only been to Las Vegas one time, Chuck Malamut sent me, and I had to fly from Philadelphia to Chicago and Chicago to Las Vegas. So I'm on the plane. I don't remember if it was pretty sure it was right out of Philly that this happened. I was in the aisle seat. In the old days, I take that back. In the old days, and I used to fly to Atlanta a lot, I liked the window seat. Now I like, and this is for years now, like the last 20 years, I like the aisle seat. And I don't seem to ever have to get up to go to the restroom, but I like the ability to not have to ask somebody else, hey, can I get by, and be like a burden like that. I like the aisle seat. My daughter Kristen, same. So I'm in the one aisle, and she's usually right next to me in the other aisle when we fly together. So I'm minding my own business. This is cruel and unusual, and I had to live with this. This plane was full. There was no way to move. I'm sitting, and all of a sudden, this person comes next to me, and I nicknamed it the Big Splash. This person has done this. They had a degree. They had like a doctorate in this technique. This person makes the move to sit down, grabs the armrest, because you have to push the button in and everything, and in one move, yanked it up and did what I call the Big Splash. And this person was on top of me. Literally, I had to go, and I think I take that back. It was after the connection, because this person was touching me, sitting on me for the entire flight to Las Vegas. It was absolutely almost unbearable. And that's not right. I'm not saying anything about, obviously that the person couldn't fit inside of if both armrests were down, because this person was going into the center seat. I called it the Big Splash. So now I've shared 3. Tom, I've got to take the break. You'll be on next as soon as we come back. The Big Splash. I'll never forget it. And it was probably, within a year, it was probably 1985 or 86.
You're waking up with Hurley in the morning.
I'm looking for trustworthy news.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5. You're waking up with Hurley in the morning.
Brigantine.
Maze Landing.
EHT. Ocean City.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5. South Jersey's talk station.
Thank you. Welcome back. 19 minutes past the hour. So we are, I think, close to being able to shift into third gear. We got out of first gear. I think we're in second gear, about to shift into third gear, and we could really hit fourth gear and maybe even a fifth gear overdrive if this continues. I think we just need 1 or 2 more airplane stories, and we'll get more. I mean, I just know I'm not unique, and I just shared 3, and I've got more. Margie sent one to me that I'm not going to share. There's nothing wrong with it. I just don't want to share it. It was an injury that I suffered on a plane, and I'll just leave it at that. But nothing, we're not talking like Mile High Club stuff or anything, untoward or inappropriate. Just something that happened on a plane. And Margie asked me if I remember. I said, I remember. Tom, what do you know?
Hey, Harry, that's funny that you bring this subject up. It happened to me on a plane. Was back in the 80s, I was working with the international firefighters, and I was asked to attend a funeral at Buffalo 5 Buffalo firefighters were killed in a warehouse fire. And I was on the airplane, and we ran into, it was the middle of winter, and you know what Buffalo's like in winter.
Oh, my gosh, terrible.
We ran into a thunder snowstorm. I'd never seen anything like it in my life. The whole plane lit up. It was bouncing around. Well, the flight attendant knew I was a firefighter because I had my jacket on. So people were falling all over the place. It was crazy in the plane. You know, they were all screaming, just like you were saying. Everybody screaming. She says, "Could you help us?" And I said, "What do you want me to do?" She says, "Just calm down these people. Just walk around with us and help calm down the people." And, you know, and I'm walking around the plane. So it was just too funny. So,
but by the way, I'll tell my injury now that you shared this story. Margie and I are coming from Rutland, Vermont, to Philadelphia, and we're supposed to stop at LaGuardia, Newark, and finally land in Philadelphia International Airport. This flight never should have taken off. We were in horrific thunder and lightning. This plane, which was called an Eastern Precision Dornier Equipment, I found out years later the pilots were punished. If you were on that assignment, you were basically punished, which would have been nice to know in real time. I learned it a long time later, just by accident. Somebody asked me if I knew about this plane. I said I would not know anything about this plane, except I flew it every week for 1 year. So anyhow, the plane is dropping out of the sky like hundreds of feet, Tom. It's just the bottom is falling out, and we are just going down and jumping, and there's bolts of lightning all over the place. It literally is one of the scariest experiences I've ever had. Well, I don't want to say who, but I had someone digging into my hand, and I had the scars. I'm looking now, and I had the scars for decades from the injury. People were screaming, Tom, "We're going to die." I mean, they were going absolutely crazy on this plane. When the plane landed, and everybody was kind of happy, the pilot had white hair, which was like, oh, thank God, experienced pilot. The plane erupted in applause when we landed, Tom. It was a harrowing, crazy, and usually I wouldn't like that kind of thing going on, and I didn't like it because it was making things worse. But if you were on that plane, you would know why people would be screaming that we're going to die, because it was that bad.
Yeah, the same thing, Harry. It was crazy. So, yeah, when I walked off the plane, the flight attendants thanked me and gave me a bag. And I'm going, "What's this for?" And she says, "That's for you. Thanks for helping us." So I get in the car. You know, a friend of mine picked me up at the airport. I get in the car, and I said, "They gave me this bag." It was all full of those little tiny bottles.
Oh, boy. They sent you to the bar, the mini bar.
they dumped out the mini bar.
Oh, my God.
In a bag. It was just, it was hilarious. But I never forgot that, because who has a thunderstorm in snow? But it was a snow thunderstorm. It was incredible.
Tom, our flight ended like this. We were kind of happy because we had a direct flight. It didn't stop in LaGuardia. So I was like, great. Then they said, we're not going to land in Newark. I was great. We get to Philadelphia International Airport. The pilot's flying around in a circle, and he said, we can't land. It's not safe. We had language going on from the cockpit you never hear before. Like, you don't hear that kind of thing. But the pilot said it's not safe to land. So all of a sudden, the pilot says, we have to land. We're running out of fuel. Can you believe I just said that?
He actually announced that?
He announced that. And then the people started to absolutely go bananas on the plane. And we are going down, and there's lightning bolts all over the place. We shouldn't be landing. It's not safe. But we're now running out of fuel because this plane was supposed to stop twice, and it hadn't stopped at all. And I don't know if you've ever had a plane going down in a way that almost seems like you're going to crash, because he was trying to get us past the lightning bolts. So we are screaming straight down. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. It was terrifying.
Yeah, I can imagine because I went through it and it was not fun. But it was pretty crazy.
Now, we didn't have your snow, but we had heavy rain and we had the lightning.
Well, you can imagine what Buffalo was like. I've never seen snow that deep in my entire life.
Wow.
It was just incredible, but that was a flight to remember.
There you go. I'm glad we brought the topic up. Thank you, Tom. See ya. 609-407-1450. Ladies and gentlemen, the Gooch.
Good morning, Harry. So you just told a story that reminded me of my very first flight ever.
Oh, no.
No.
Thank God I had probably flown hundreds of times before my near-death experience.
No. Well, my first flight was not near-death. It's what I call the big shift. Okay?
Oh, okay. You mean mine that was the big splash, right?
Yes, you had the big splash, and I have, since 1985, I have what I call the big shift. Okay? I'm sitting, and I have the middle seat, not the end, not the window. And this person, who was large, to say the very least, sits next to me, and she has the window seat. And, I'm kind of scrunched. She's kind of half on my lap, half out the window. And here comes the food. Okay? And I don't remember what kind of soup it was, a chicken noodle or something. And here comes the big shift. And the one leg goes down, and the other leg goes up, and she hits the tray. And I'm wearing this pair of red shorts. And bam. The soup goes right between my legs, burns the inside of both legs.
Oh, no.
And, of course, it burned me right, where the shorts stopped. And, I got red spots on both sides of my inner thigh. And I was walking like John Wayne for 4 days.
Oh, this is terrible. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, that was my first.
Now, let me ask you this. That's terrible. That's worse than mine, although mine was terrible. Was this person, did you have to keep the armrest up, or were you at least able to have the armrest between the two of you?
Harry, quite honestly, it didn't matter. I couldn't tell you if the armrest was just down. Everything.
Well, yeah, because everything comes underneath the bottom and in anyhow. So
right. You
You
couldn't find the armrest. You didn't know where her seat ended or my seat began.
But I was literally such an unsuspecting victim. All of a sudden, it was like, no. And I see this person come in and with one move lifts up the armrest and bam, arrives.
The thing about it was after the big shift, she says to me, "You spilled your soup on me." I said, "No, you knocked my tray over."
Oh, that's terrible. So you got blamed for the incident.
That's she told me I spilled soup on her.
Yeah. I'm going to interpret that for you now. That individual knows that she knocked everything all over and spilled the soup and did that dishonestly.
And we still talk about it today, me and my cousin John, whenever we see...
I never knew, I named it the Big Splash. I never knew that I would hear the Big Shift. I love it.
So whenever we see someone that resembles her, my cousin John will say to me, "Yo, Gooch, Big Shift."
Big Shift.
Like that.
And I say Big Splash.
Right. So there you go, Harry. So
Thanks.
There's another thing we have in common.
Thank you, Gooch.
All right, Harry.
It's in the Ventnor water. You got to go through these travails and ordeals. Let's get the break in, and when we come back, a bunch of your phone calls. We'll get through all of them. Don't go away. It's the Hurley in the Morning program.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
Thank you. 29 minutes past the hour. Hurley in the Morning with 3 stories that you can follow right now on the WPG Talk Radio 95.5 app. Imagine this one, and we got to break it. An Atlantic City candidate without any conflicts of interest is going to be running for office. Imagine, no children, no spouses, with jobs, will actually be able to vote on everything. Wow, amazing. Crime allegations lead to low morale at the Atlantic City Public Schools. At 11 o'clock this morning on breaking news about a federal criminal investigation.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. A taste of real summer weather today as our warming trend peaks. We'll see about 70 along the coast, but 80s inland today with mostly sunny skies and dry weather during the day. There is a chance of a pop-up shower or thunderstorm tonight. It's going to be kind of sticky, low temperature 67. Still warm and humid tomorrow with a high of 81, but clouds roll in and scattered thunderstorms are likely tomorrow too. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today. This is an important safety.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5. For complete contest rules, visit WPGTalkRadio.com. Wake up weekday mornings with Hurley in the morning.
This is the stuff we need to talk about.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
We are going right back to your calls at 33 minutes past the hour, and the topic is airplane experiences that you have had. And I know everybody's had them. And we're not even, and I love what everybody has shared so far. We're not even scratching the surface, though, of the things that happen. It just, and I'll tell you something that I don't like that's happening now. I don't know why this is the case. Why are all these fights going on planes? What happens? It never happened like that before. You know, your seat used to be free. The bag on the plane or under the belly was free. You got a full meal. If you were just going from here to Atlanta, a full, delicious meal. And now you pay for everything. No peanuts. No meal. They have Sky Cabin service that you pay an arm and a leg for. Everything, your seat now costs a lot. It used to cost a little. Now it costs a lot. I will tell you, though, it was a very pleasant surprise because I've always believed, look, if you could get a work problem happen, any type of conflict, somebody, you have to go home, someone's not well, anything can happen, and you want to go change your arrangements, and it's $100, and then there's this fine and all this. So if you have the Spirit, whatever it's called, World MasterCard or whatever it's called, and I do, you can now make changes at no additional penalty. So that was a good, upgrade for a change because everything's been going the wrong direction lately, not just there, but in life where you're getting less and everything is costing more. So we're taking your experiences during air travel. Welcome to Hurley in the Morning. You're on the air.
Hi, Harry. I had an experience in 1964 when I joined the Air National Guard. They transported us up to New York for a flight to Lackland Air Force Base. And I got on this plane. I think it was a KC-97, but what it really was a modified B-29 bomber.
How about that?
And on the way down over Mississippi, one of the engines...
By the way, were you sitting sideways or were you sitting... I'm just teasing. Go ahead. That's a joke. That's a bad joke.
I can't remember.
No, that was a bad joke.
Right now.
You know the netting, in those bombers, the netting on the side that you would sit in, that was just a bad joke. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, anyway, over Mississippi, one of the engines went out, and about 10 of us were really upset. And the pilot says, don't worry, this plane will fly with one engine. And he made it all the way, and we landed in Lackland Air Force Base, and that's a whole other story, basic training. On the way home, my wife's 5-year-old sister was my girlfriend at the time. Her 5-year-old sister collected rocks and asked me to bring her some rocks from Texas. So I hid some, and then I ended up putting them in my duffel bag, and it was about 40 to 50 pounds of them. And I lugged them to the airport in Texas, went from there to Atlanta, and then from Atlanta back to Philadelphia. And when I got home, she was no longer collecting rocks.
Oh, my goodness. That was a heavy lift. You know what I love about your story? I love that losing an engine on a plane was not your story. I love that. That's fantastic.
But how many people do you know flew on a B-29 bomber?
Just you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know it at the time, but I found out afterwards what it was.
Very, very good story. Thank you for sharing it.
All right, Harry.
I'm glad we got to talk. Have a great day. See you now.
All right, bye.
1964. I love it. 609-407-1450 and open line. Dan, you are on deck. Don't go away. Caller, you're on the air. Welcome.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
I am well. Thank you for asking.
Oh, I have this story about Bader Field.
Oh, please.
1980, trying to think. from 79 to 82, I had the occasion to fly out of Bader Field probably about 10 times. So I was young, 19, 20 years old. And, I lived in Atlantic City, actually in Ventnor. So I'm flying in and out of Bader Field. And this one time I'm flying in with the then national officer for the Future Farmers of America and the president of the Kentucky Association for FFA. So the way you approach, I guess, I can't remember 100%, but you come in from the ocean, and then I think we turned around and then flew back toward the bay. And I'll never forget, the one guy was from Oklahoma and the other guy was from Kentucky. And the two of them at the same time said, "You gotta be kidding me. I think we're going to skid right into the water." I was like, no, this is how, it's fine.
But do you know that a couple times a year at least they did go into the bay?
I know, but none of the times that I flew, I flew out of.
But that was these guys were on point because that was a fairly regular occurrence where they would overshoot the runway. Now, when I flew it, but I want to let you finish. I'll tell you an interesting story about my one and only round trip, and I flew around the same time that you did. I flew in 87, and it was called the Allegheny Commuter then. But please continue.
Yes. No, I'm just saying that we might have flew from Dulles. I'm pretty sure we flew from Dulles this one time when I had these two gentlemen with us. They had, both one Oklahoma, one Kentucky. Furthest east either of them had been was Washington, D.C. The euphoria of seeing the Atlantic Ocean and then the horror of thinking that you're going to go right into the bay.
Yep.
It was like, so
go
ahead. You can finish, hon.
I did it. All right. So here's my quick story. Don't go away. Then we can say goodbye together. I'm getting ready to get on the plane, and I see the door comes completely off the plane. Do you remember that?
No.
Yeah, the door is not hinged. The door locks, so I felt good about it in a way. But I never wanted to fly it again after this particular experience. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. So the door completely comes off the plane. That was a little unnerving. And I thought, wow, that's different. And then they just fit it back in, and then it locks back in. So it's not hinged like what you see today. I get on the plane, and I sit where I wanted to sit. The captain peeks out. He just had a curtain. The captain slides the curtain, and he said, you move there. You move. I weigh maybe 145 pounds at the time. You move there. So he moved about 3 or 4 of us. So I remember I was very young at the time. I said to the captain, I said, "You mean to tell me this matters?" He goes, "Oh, yes, it matters." So I learned that weight distribution in an Allegheny commuter was a real thing. I don't know if you experienced that or if you all just got on the plane and sat where you wanted and nobody said anything, but we actually got moved to sit in different areas to more evenly distribute the load on the plane.
Yeah, I feel like it was maybe only 36 passengers, maybe 24. It was two seats on each side.
Yep. I'm going to doubt 36. I think more like a couple dozen could fit on that plane. They were pretty small.
Right. And back then, horribly air sick, plane sick. The whole time, every time we flew to Atlanta, I would spend the entire flight basically in the bathroom.
Yeah, it wasn't a smooth ride at all. It was very rough, moved up and down and side to side. It wasn't smooth like what you experience, unless you get unlucky turbulence today. But they're very smooth now. And I just remember not liking it. And the landing in Philly was no big deal. Landing back in Atlantic City, where you literally thought, almost like San Francisco, if you've ever seen, and I landed there one time also, you swear that you are going into the bay. Literally, the landing strip is right after the bay. So you swear you're going down into the bay, but we didn't either time when I was flying into San Francisco and when we flew the one time to Allegheny commuter. I never flew the Allegheny commuter ever again, though.
Have a great day.
You too. Didn't like it. Dan, you're going to be next. Please don't go away. It is the Hurley in the Morning program. I missed the fact, because that was Atlantic City. That's where the term airport was created. I liked that we had it. President Reagan, when he was governor of California, maybe he wasn't even governor of California yet. Could have been when he was still head of the Screen Actors Guild, but he landed at Bader Field in what you would call like a puddle jumper. Back in a moment, Dan joins the program next, and then you will be right after Dan. I promise we'll get you both in.
You're listening to Hurley in the Morning.
We live in a society where everybody is offended.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5, South Jersey's talk station. Starting your day the right way with Hurley in the Morning.
It's a refreshing drive to work in the morning.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Welcome back, Hurley in the Morning at 46 minutes past the hour. If you're just joining our program, this hour we've been talking about experiences on airplanes. And if you've missed it, check the podcast out. When it's uploaded later today, you can download it. It's been so much fun. 609-407-1415 open phone line. Dan, let's hear about it.
A beautiful 95-degree day. The sun is shining. Visibility unlimited. Takeoff is beautiful. And sitting next to a beautiful woman, just by chance. She's got the window seat, and I'm heading over Hoover Dam. Now we're a little further out. And she looks out the window, and she goes, "Oh, my God." And so I look out the window. I said, "I'm right there with you." I said, she said, stewardess said at the time was stewardesses. That's all water release probably. And it was fluid, and it was by the wing. So I make my way up, towards the first class, get into the little galley there. And I said, "You got to tell the pilot." And all of a sudden, I get back to my seat, and the pilot says, "We're experiencing fuel loss." And he says, "But we do have enough fuel to make it to Philadelphia." And the girl looks at me. She goes, "Are we going to make it?" I said, We're gonna be turning around." I told her, "And we're gonna be okay." She said, "Yeah, so I'm going to medical school. I want to be a doctor one day." I said, "You'll be a doctor." I said, and she put her hand out. I put my hand down, and holding my hand, looking at me and saying, "Are you sure?" And so the pilot comes on, and then we fuel the bank. And they said we decided to turn around and head back to Las Vegas. And everybody, of course, on the plane, if you know, they're all excited about the stuff they're heading towards Las Vegas. I could feel the anxiety in the plane, but the staff was so nice. The stewardesses, the captain was like reassuring. Boom, perfect landing. Emergency vehicles, everything's good. And that was my start of my casino career. I thought it was delayed. It was delayed by 12 hours.
Never heard of that happening, but thank God it was a happy ending. Wow. Scary.
Yeah, she said, "Am I going to be a doctor?" I said, "You are."
I like that. You're going to be a doctor. I like that. Somebody's got to be calm. That when we thought we were going down, I decided I'm going to be the calm person and just tell everybody everything's going to be fine. But honestly, inside, I really didn't know. I had many, many doubts, but I figured the whole plane is flipping out. So somebody's got to be calm. And I just, said to a few people, we're going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. Experienced pilot, we're going to be fine. I will say that the language they chose to use, who knew it was before I would go into a career of the spoken word format, but I always believe words matter. And our situation, Dan, was exacerbated because of what was said. There were things said that shouldn't have been said, and it got people really panicked. In your case, it sounded like they all did the right thing. They were just calm, and we're going to turn back. We're going to be fine, and and you were. But if they would have said, "Hey, I don't know if we have enough fuel to make it. We'll see how it goes," that'd be a little bit of different attitude on the plane. But yeah, it's scary, that kind of thing, when you don't know.
It was nice because I was in the Navy and I had that training and everything else. And if something's going on in the ship, if there's a fire and everything else, they just stress to be calm all the time, as calm as you can be.
Yeah,
there's going to be some angst. That's only natural. So I was also a weight.
Hey, by the way, I wonder if you ever found out, did the pilots know you were losing fuel, or did the visual inspection and you going and telling them, is that how they found out?
Yeah, they actually came into the area where they could look and get a real good look at what was happening.
So they didn't know, did they? I guess their gauges at some point would have showed them that they were losing fuel, but it looks like you guys saw it before they even knew it.
Oh yeah, we hit it early, and we kind of reacted early because you never know. It could be water, it could be gas.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah. Fuel is clear, no doubt about it. Good thing it wasn't a rainy day.
The fuel is basically stable because I think it's mostly kerosene if you get down to it.
Yeah, I don't think it leaking meant like it's going to blow up, but I guess you never know though. If something throws a spark or something, it's not a pleasant situation.
Yeah, see, if you're over the high desert, you know what the lightning is like. So it was a good turnaround.
Yeah, good story, Dan.
I joined you as a weight shifter as well on that flight because they say, hey, big boy, come to the right side.
Oh my God, it's crazy. I know. All right, Dan. Okay. Good to talk to you, my man. See ya. Take care, pal. 609-407-1415, open phone line. Welcome to Hurley in the Morning. You're on the air.
Dana Perino met her husband Peter on a flight.
I've heard her tell that story.
Listen, I got paid to be calm. I don't want to tell any stories during my career as a flight attendant, but I will tell you when I worked in marketing at resorts, the best casino there was, the best. We had our own limos. We had our own Dash 7 plane at Bader Field, and we also had a 52-seat helicopter at the end of the Steel Pier. And if you worked in marketing, you were allowed to fly on it as much as you wanted into JFK or to Manhattan. So here I was, I think I was 24 years old, and that was the first time I wanted to go see the World Trade Center. I couldn't believe the size of it, like, because people who live all over the United States, and when we experienced 9/11, you really had no idea how big and how tall those buildings were. And it's a shame that people have forgotten that because, of course, the media has made it disappear. But you really had to see it and go up to the 106th floor, and the restaurant was called Windows of the World. And I'm afraid of heights, I know that. So I would cling to the wall, and everybody was leaning against the glass, and stuff like that. But what a loss our company experienced. But I just wanted to bring that up about how well resorts took care of their patrons.
Very nice. You're welcome. Thank you. Take care. And resorts had the helipad. Trump had a helipad, both at the marina and then ultimately over at Steel Pier. So that was always very, very good. Welcome to Hurley in the Morning. You're on the air.
Hello, Harry.
Hello, you. What's going on?
Ed Klein speaking.
Yo, Ed.
I got two stories for you. I got a lot of stories, but with planes, but I'll just give you two that are funny.
Okay.
My dad had the contract to plow the snow for the city of Atlantic City, and he sent me over to Bader Field to plow the snow. The city of Atlantic City ran the airport at that time. I get over there. I tell them I'm not plowing the snow or doing anything. They teach me how to fly. They said, plow the runway. We'll teach you. I plowed the runways and took care of them, and they taught me how to fly. I'm going to say I probably flew 10 hours. And I go one day, and I said, I want to take the plane. Go ahead. They did, no rules, no regulations.
Wow.
And I flew up to Long Beach Island. I was seeing somebody at the time. I want to fly up there, and I fly up, and she's not looking up. I open the window and scream. They all look up, laugh. They swallow me. I then fly back to Atlantic City. We had a crosswind landing. I was never trained for that. And let me tell you, that was the wake-up call. What am I doing? I can pay somebody to fly me.
Yeah.
That plane, I tried to bring it on the runway, and the wind's blowing me off the runway. And I wasn't trained for that type of wind. So that was a scary moment in my life. And I decided, back then we used to say, what are you going to do? I said, I'm flying Eastern. Spirit wasn't invented yet, but
right.
I guess fly the Florida in Spirit.
Wow.
Yeah. So running stories. And another real quick one.
Yeah.
The Chamber of Commerce has a big event in Washington, D.C. You probably heard about it. All the politicians take a train down there.
Oh, of course,
for
yeah.
the day.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to go down by the train. I'm busy, so I'm going to charter a plane. And I do. And I'm getting a couple of guys who want to go. At that time, it was Roger Hansen. He's a dear friend. And meet at Bader Field. We're going down. We all get to Bader Field. He looks. The battery was dead. They have a car with the engine running, and they're charging the battery. Roger goes, we're not getting on that plane, are we? Yeah, it's just the battery. They're going to get it running. Wait a minute. He was a nervous wreck. But, hey, imagine you're getting ready to get on the plane. They're trying to jumpstart it so you can go. Hello.
Oh, boy. Yeah, that does not inspire confidence.
I can tell you. More stories I can tell you because of my career and all this stuff. But that's the two best, and I want to hear from some of your other people. So
thank you, Ed.
Here, Harry.
Good to talk to you, my friend. See you, Eddie.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Time for one more call, and it is you. Welcome to Hurley in the Morning. You're on the air.
Well, good morning, Mayor.
Hey.
It was back in like 06 or 07. I was working at the Brigada, and one of the purveyors, someone that we bought stuff to enhance soups and sauces with, these different powders and stuff that I worked with. I was going to go with this gentleman out to Vegas and help him do some demos of his products that he had. My boss let me go. This man thought about hiring me. First time going to Vegas. I'm out there. I get a couple job offers. And make a long story short, I knew nothing at the time about a red-eyed flight. And my boss told me before I left, he said, Nick, he said, I'm going to let you go, right? He said, but listen, I need you. I really need you in here, okay? Don't use a PTO day on me, okay? I really need you. So we leave there. It's like, I don't know, 6, 7 o'clock in the evening out in Vegas. And I'm not thinking of the time difference and all those things. So when we get back, we hit all this turbulence. And the gentleman bought me a Bible when we were out there. So I was reading, and I had fell asleep reading this Bible, and I was awakened to all this turbulence. So if we're over top of Philly, right, then it gets definitely eerie silent. And it was pitch black. You could see nothing. And we went around over top of Philly, like flying around in a circle for like an hour. And I didn't get home till like, I don't know, almost 4:30 in the morning. And I had to be to work at 7, and I was dead tired. And I walked in the kitchen, and my boss says to me, Nicky, what are you doing here? I said, you told me I better not use a PTO day. He said, I was just kidding. I said, well, I'm going home. He said, no, you're not.
Oh, that's a great one. You know, you brought back memories of my experience when we were flying around Philadelphia International Airport because we couldn't land. And, that's, this, you know, you think about it and we treat it like it's routine, but there's a lot that can happen.
Yeah, and it felt like we weren't moving even. And I said, oh, my God, all this way, and I'm going to die. I said, please, Lord, please, let me get down on the ground. Let my feet get on the ground. I was praying so hard. But the hardest part, after everything was driving home that day from work, from the Borgata, out to, at the time I lived in EHT, and I said, and my head was dropping up and down. I said, come on, man. I had the windows down.
Oh, yeah. To wake yourself up. We are at the finish line. I am seconds from the top of the hour news break. Thank you, and thank you to everyone that checked in. Great topic. John Walters is next.
WPGG Atlantic City, WENJ HD3 Millville, a Town Square media station. Everything you need to know in 6 minutes starts now. From Harry Hurley Way in the world's playground to the broadcast pioneers of Philadelphia Hall of Fame, you're about to find out why Harry Hurley has been named to the Talkers Magazine list of the 100 most important talk show hosts in the nation. Live from the studios of Town Square Media in Northfield, it's Hurley in the Morning on WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app.
Hey, thank you and welcome. It's 5 minutes past the hour. John Walters is here. And on the second and the fourth Wednesday of every month, John Walters presents and sponsors a very important discussion all about reverse mortgages. So I'm so happy, John, that you're here. Let me ask you to extend just for a quick minute.
Sure.
We just did such a fun hour on airplane experiences. So if I said to you, and I'm going to, is there an experience that you've had on a plane that is memorable?
Yes, and I have to tell you that I was listening to your show as I was driving
so much fun.
here. Yes, and it was going from Puerto Rico to St. Croix on, what did they call it? The American Eagle, they called it.
I remember that plane.
And it was similar to one of the stories that was on the show. Flying in, I just had this unbelievable feeling that we were going to land in the water. We didn't, but it was the first time that I took this American Eagle, and I didn't know the flight path or how it came into the airport. And it was very frightening.
If you fly into certain airports, well, the old Bader Field or, for example, San Francisco Airport, if you don't know, you think you are going to land in the water because San Francisco, and it's dangerous, and they seem to have it happen where planes come up a little bit short, and they can land in the water or right in those rocks that are right there at the end. Bader Field, at least several times a year, planes would end up in the bay.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, one of the most scariest ones is St. Thomas, because you could, at the end of the runway, you just got to go straight up, you know?
I had harrowing experiences. I took a 1-year contract in Vermont, so I flew every single week for an entire year.
Right.
And I knew a little bit about how it's kind of dangerous flying in the mountains because, you know, if you've ever watched any of those Alaska shows, for example, it's dangerous. I mean, just the wind and everything, and weather can deteriorate so quickly. I had a number of very challenging experiences that year.
Yeah.
Because of that.
Yes. And it's amazing how you remember them.
There's no doubt about it. Yeah, you don't remember the ones that were smooth and were uneventful, but you do remember the ones that were challenging. John, opening comments.
Well, thank you. Well, let me say thanks for the good introduction that you do each week, Harry.
Always an honor.
Let me say, for those who may be listening for the first time, and I know that we have some new listeners because I spoke to a few people this week, welcome to the show, which is called All About Reverse Mortgages, and we're here every other Wednesday from 9 to 10 a.m., and as with the title of All About Reverse Mortgages is to cover all those things that you may not know anything about. And you're more than welcome in the second half of the show to call in if you have any questions, or if you're just wondering about how to structure something, maybe I could be helpful. Feel free to call in, as I say. One of the things I have to do is I have a little something that I have to read. And so I just want to share with everyone that I am a reverse mortgage consultant with Longbridge Financial, and my NMLS number is 91144, and I'm licensed in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, and Florida, and I have been licensed for the last 18 years. The branch address is 1501 Pleasure Avenue, which is my local address in Ocean City. And my office branch NMLS number is 2484170. And my email address, feel free to call or text or email if you have any questions. And my email address is jwalters, WALTERS, at Longbridge, just like it sounds, -financial.com. And we do have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, so that means that we're good boys. And our corporate address is located at 61 South Paramus Road, Suite 500 in Paramus, New Jersey. So, as I say, Harry, each week, one of the things that I want to do is I have to read that. So
absolutely.
Sorry you have to listen to it, but it's required.
No apologies for what needs to be done. I want to make a quick announcement about a news item. We're not going to have time to talk about it, but I do want you to be aware of it. At this hour, the Republican National Committee headquarters in Washington, D.C. is on lockdown. There are multiple hazmat vehicles on the scene. That's all that we know for now. There was a separate item that migrants have staged armed robberies to get visas. There's a federal story about that. But that is, at this hour, happening at the RNC headquarters, and just wanted to let you know. Opening comments, John, to get rolling here.
Well, get rolling. Well, let me just, since our show is called All About Reverse Mortgages, let me share a little bit what a reverse mortgage is for those people who may not know. And if you do, I might add something to it. But basically what you're doing is you're using your home and taking or using a portion of the equity in your property for many different reasons. And the great thing about it is its flexibility. And it's an age-based loan. You got to be 62 years of age for this particular program. So it's a financial product that's used for people of retirement age. And even if you're not 62 and you could be in your late 50s or early 60s, what I find that's extremely valuable is to have an understanding about this financial product. And Harry, one of the things that's funny, I talked to Rich Gerber in the insurance business. I talked to many other people in the financial world, and I've found it extremely valuable to find out as much as I can about different financial products. Mm-hmm. I may not want it now. I may not want an annuity right now. I may not want life insurance at this moment, but it could be just like a reverse mortgage. It could be a week, a month. It could be a year down the road. And so what I'm trying to share with people, and I find this because with hundreds of families that I have met with, is for them to understand is try to leverage what you have to strengthen your retirement position. And the home equity the home equity that you have, and depending on the percentage that you have, can be very useful in order for you to tie up certain ends of your financial package. And so what I want you to think about is be proactive. And I always share with Harry about the 5 Ps, which is prior preparation prevents poor performance. Don't wait until something happens. And the expression good friend of mine, Bob Parker, and myself always use, especially with people as we age, is expect the unexpected. And if we expect the unexpected, that means if something happens, do we have a plan in place? And Harry, I want you to think about that for a moment, because constantly, and I know you're very proactive with your life, and because I know a lot of things about you, but you're always anticipating. If you're taking a trip with your family down to Florida, what happens if the plane doesn't take off? What's plan B? What's plan C? What I'm finding out is that what I'm trying to do is get more people motivated and be proactive to think about that.
Yep.
And especially with this particular program, which I'm finding out that I get more excited as the years go on. Harry, the topic today is a topic that's one of your favorites as far as a strategy with the reverse mortgage. And I'm going to ask you this question. The aspect of someone paying off their forward mortgage with a reverse mortgage, How do you see that playing a part with a lot of people?
Oh, huge. Well, first of all, let's just say it's probably more. Let's just say the mortgage is $1,000 a month. If your mortgage is now paid off, and I don't know, how much was left on the mortgage, if it was a year or 10 years, but you now don't have that mortgage payment anymore. So that's like finding $1,000 every month before the month, even begins. So just, I've said to you many times, just the event of paying off the mortgage is game changing.
Yes. And one of the things I try to share with people is that with a reverse mortgage, what's happening, the equity is paying that monthly payment. Exactly. And that's important to understand because I don't have to pay it. Yeah, it does get paid, but it gets paid a little bit differently than it does with a forward mortgage.
Correct.
Okay?
But you don't have to make a payment.
You do not have to make a principal or interest payment. That is correct. But you are responsible for the taxes and the insurance, which is vitally important.
Which you would be anyhow.
Correct. And, I heard something years ago, which is really true. If you're going to spend 30 years to pay your house off, why not have your house pay you back?
Exactly. And to lose that $1,000 or $2,000, whatever it would be per month, that's a really big deal.
And if we also look at the number of people who may not have a pension, may not have a 401k, may not have a 403b, and now what happens is that you become of retirement age, or you're thinking about retirement, or how soon can I retire? All these questions come into play.
The reverse mortgage, and we'll get the break in. We can talk about this after the break. The reverse mortgage might make it possible, and I know you have cases where this is true, could allow you to retire now rather than having to wait for a period of time.
Exactly.
Which is a big deal.
Yes.
We'll be right back. John Walters continues right after this. To reach John, you can call him, you can text him, 609-231-4924, 609-231-4924. You can certainly email John as well, jwalters@Longbridge, the dash, so the middle dash, not the one that you see sometimes, that's the lowercase dash, the middle dash, financial.com. jwalters@longbridge-financial.com. And a reminder, if your group or organization, if you're looking for a speaker, John Walters would love to be invited to speak to your group or your organization. You can call or text John at 609-231-4924. We'll be back with John Walters. I am.
You're listening to Hurley in the Morning.
It's a source I can trust.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5. You're listening to Hurley in the Morning on South Jersey's talk station, WPG Talk Radio 95.5, and the WPG Talk Radio app. Hurley in the Morning.
Harry Hurley is the only person that can make sense of what's happening in Atlantic City.
On WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
See, John? That gentlelady knows what she's talking about. She really does. We are with John Walters, and he is our official and exclusive. So on the topic of reverse mortgage, John is the only person that I personally recommend, that I personally endorse, and I do so with absolute unconditional confidence because John is terrific. He's wonderful to work with every member of your family. You're going to love working with John, and so many of the quality traits that you want to see: honest, hardworking, really dependable. When he says he's going to do something, he does it. If he says he's going to be at your home to meet, or if you're going to talk digitally. What percentage right now, John, are your in-home visits versus digital?
90-10. 90-10
in the house.
In home.
I love it.
Yes.
Because to me, I think it's great, and I think it's great that, like, for example, telemedicine that people were adverse to. The pandemic made us do some things that we weren't probably ready to do.
And I'll tell you what I found out, and I have had several appointments this week, okay? And by sitting at the table, and one of the things I normally say, do any of you have an understanding about this product?
Yes.
They'll say, I know a little bit, or I heard something about it. And it depends on the meeting. Sometimes they want to ask their questions first.
Yep.
Other times I can take the point person, so to speak.
Yep.
And what happens is I learn something every time. this week there was a question in reference to the line of credit. And the question basically was, well, where's the money? And I'm thinking, what do you mean where the money is? I mean, I know where the money is, but what I realized was I needed to articulate that we are the lender.
Yep.
Okay. And what happens is you submit a line of credit withdrawal form, and you can receive your proceeds by check or through wired to the account. And so I find it extremely educational in the sense that it improves what I do as far as meeting with people, which is, to me, the greatest part. I think because, as you know, you and I are people persons. Okay?
Absolutely. And the point that I was also trying to make with this is I think there is something that happens interpersonally when you're with someone that you can accomplish the task through a Zoom or Teams or whatever, FaceTime. Right. You know what I'm saying. There's something to it. Guest listener just checked in and asked this question. I think you're going to like this question.
Yes.
And you have addressed this in the past. Would you ask John, can you outlive a reverse mortgage? You see, I know why people ask that.
Yes. Well, that's
because they don't know.
That's a very good question.
It is.
Okay.
Dennis.
So what happens with a reverse mortgage? Let's say that you get a reverse mortgage, and now what happens is there's a set of loan documents that are signed, disclosures and things, and now there's a couple moving pieces here we have, Harry. Now, can you outlive it? Okay, now as far as whatever the funds are that you qualify for, you could outlive those, so to speak, in the sense that if you use them all up, you have no more funds to use.
Yes.
But as far as living in the home, no, there's no end until if you live in your home throughout the course of your life, and not until your life ends, then the reverse mortgage ends, but then it gets repaid either through the estate or whoever it may be.
And also explain, but only to the extent that you would not leave your heirs with a bill all of a sudden, oh my God, there's a market downturn and I owe more than I got, and now my children, or what are we going to do? We're going to be left with all this. You are never on the hook.
That's correct, because it's extremely important to understand. This is with a forward mortgage. What happens? It's called a full recourse, and that means that you personally sign, husband and wife, let's say, personally sign that loan is going to be repaid. They're personally responsible. With the reverse mortgage, it's called a non-recourse, and it's called the non-recourse feature, which basically says at the end when the loan becomes due and payable, and they call that a maturity event, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. When that loan becomes due and payable, the bank will accept the value of the property at the time it becomes due and payable. Best case scenario, worst case scenario. Best case scenario is someone has a reverse mortgage. They owe $100,000 on the loan. House is worth $500,000. Now what happens is at the end of the loan, if the people want to refinance that loan or if they want to sell that property, they pay off the $100,000 and they get the difference of the money.
I want to underscore that to Dennis and to everybody else that's listening, because you really, in life, you don't get to have your cake and eat it too very often. If your home is worth less, you don't owe more. If your home is worth more, you pay off what is owed and you get the rest.
Correct.
It's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And people say, well, why would there be, could it ever happen there's no equity? It depends on the situation. Best case, worst case scenario. I have someone 8 years ago got a reverse mortgage. I got a line of credit, never touched it for 8 years until now. Line of credit went from $3 to like $550, and now what happens is they're able to access that.
Yep.
Okay. And
but by the way, the other thing too, though, is John, I'm just going to throw out, and this number's not perfect.
Yeah.
Say you were able to take 50% of what your home was worth. You know, at the time you did the reverse mortgage, you would still have that other half.
Correct. That's equity in the property.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, tied in with that, with the line of credit because people will say, let's say you qualify for $200,000 for a line of credit. And what happens is you live 1 year and you pass away and you never touch the line of credit. People will say, what happens? That's the equity in the property.
Yes.
Okay? That's what happened. It's the equity that's in the property. So getting back to where we were, which is your favorite topic about using a reverse mortgage to pay off a forward mortgage, I like to take a two-prong approach to this. The first prong is to pay off the forward mortgage. But what I want to be able to do is to turn on the line of credit with excess funds.
Yeah.
Okay? That's ideally the best scenario. So, it was funny. I was just reading, Harry, this week, and there was something in reference for the Urban Institute in Washington, which is a think tank. I thought this was interesting. 30% of homeowners who are 75 or older are still paying a monthly payment. 30% over the age of 75.
That's a big number.
Okay. 38% of homeowners between...
By the way, that means in almost all those cases, they took out second mortgages and things along the way.
Well,
because they would have had it paid off by then.
You and I think alike, but you speak faster.
Nah, it's all good. It's all good.
38% of homeowners aged 65 to 74 are paying off housing-related debt, which ties in. They refinance the house, put a new roof on, put air conditioning on, or whatever it may be. And for the National Association of Realtors, as far as debt to income, how about this one, Harry? 59 to 77, 38% cannot qualify for a loan. For normal Ginnie Mae, Fannie Mae loan.
Sad.
So there's no question that this product plays a vital role in helping people to increase their cash flow. That's what we're looking at, increasing their cash flow. What I need to do is to take a forward thinker and to have them understand how these pieces work in the reverse world for themselves, or it could be for their parents, it could be for a loved one, is to say, look at the flexibility. Look how creative you can be, no matter what your situation is, whatever you might be struggling with. You might be struggling with a shortfall as far as a monthly income is concerned. You might have a new roof that needs to be replaced. Now, we're not saying there's different options. You might be able to go get a HELOC at the bank, but let's say, like what we're saying here, let's say you don't qualify. What's your option?
Yeah.
So I always look at this particular program, this home equity program called a HECM, okay, as basically it's like a safety account, I call it. It's something where if you have it in place, and as I said, expect the unexpected and time moves on. One of the biggest changes that I see when I get called is when someone loses a spouse.
Yeah.
Okay? You have a couple that may be working, ready to retire. They lose a spouse. What happens immediately? One Social Security check, depending on age, is lost.
Yeah.
So income is drastically affected under that situation.
And the debt stays the same. And now it's one person
now
instead
it's
of
one
two.
person.
Halftime break. We're going to be right back. We'll pick up right off of that. Very important what John just shared, because that's a life-altering type of moment of truth. 609-231-4924 to reach John Walters, all about reverse mortgages. 609-231-4924. We'll be right back with John. This is
Hurley in the morning.
They stick to the facts.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
In need.
Enable our skill and tell your smart speaker, play WPG.com. You're listening to Hurley in the morning.
Established, reputable.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
We are already past halftime, John Walters. I just want to blame that on you. It's 37 minutes past the hour. It's John Walters, all about reverse mortgages. John, time is yours.
Well, thank you, Harry. One of the things I wanted to share that I offer, I have a book. It's a 20-page guide from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which is called Reverse Mortgages. It's a discussion guide. There's about 15 different topics that comes. What is a reverse mortgage? How is it different than a traditional mortgage? What happens if I want to sell my house? What if the reverse mortgage balance is less than the home value? All different various topics that I can send you for free. The only thing you have to do is text me, give me your address, and I'll be happy to send it out to you.
609-231-4924, 609-231-4924.
So, Harry, getting back to paying off a home with a reverse mortgage, especially when you have a forward mortgage. Probably the number one key reason people do that is to increase their cash flow. And when we deal with, or I should say, when I deal with people of retirement age, and as we age, as we go from our 60s and our 70s and 80s and so on, what we find out as we age, we usually have less borrowing power. We have less leverage financially. But the one thing with the reverse mortgage is the older you get, the more valuable you are with this particular product. Yeah. And that's what's really, really strange about
everything that might be working against you in the forward world and, we'll say in that space is the exact opposite. You're at your strongest with reverse mortgage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when we talk about usage is concerned, and we talk about, here's one example of paying off the mortgage. But the three most common uses in reference to a reverse mortgage, one is called need, which we'll talk a little bit about. The other one is lifestyle, and the other one is plan. And I have two or three stories that you always liked, and probably I would say it was one of my best stories, and it had to do with a customer that I had up in Toms River. I got a call from a son. He was in his 40s in reference to his dad. And his dad had a home in Toms River that was free and clear. And it turned out that the father, his wife, recently passed within a year. Was getting very depressed. And the son was trying to figure out a way to make him happy. And what I mean by that, he knew that his dad always would like to go to Florida for a period of time. So when I was speaking to the son, he asked me, he says, can my dad get a reverse mortgage on his home in Toms River and use the proceeds to purchase a home in Florida? Because he's going downhill. He doesn't seem to have a great will. And I thought that this would be something that would actually motivate him. So I said, yeah, we can structure something. We can go through all the numbers. And he goes, I know that with the reverse mortgage, if my dad gets us on this house in Toms River, he will not need to make a payment on it. Okay. Just like he doesn't have a mortgage now. And at the same time, we can take the money out of this to purchase, or depending on how we want to structure something down in Florida. So that's exactly what they did. About a year and a half later, I got contacted, and he told me that it changed his whole father's life experience in a sense, because there was two grandchildren. They would come down and visit for a portion of the year. The son would get to use the house. The father felt valuable at the time. So it completely changed this family. And so when I look at that as how to take this product and change somebody's family is what it's all about.
I love it. And I want to bring this up because if we don't, then sometimes if something's left unsaid, people might not understand this about you. There are people out there that are order takers, and there are people out there that are relationship builders. I put you in the relationship builder category. I'd like you to you're welcome, and it's an earned compliment. I'd like you to talk to your listeners, John, about that's gratifying for you, isn't it, when you hear something like that?
I would say that's why I've been doing this as long as I have. Yeah. I mean, like I say, 19 years, second career, dealing with people. And I like sitting down or talking to them. And if they can't, if they got to do it by Zoom, that's absolutely fine. But be able to sit down about this program that they may know nothing about, that they can ask their questions. I can try to simplify what this is so that they can wrap their arms around it. I always share with them that a reverse mortgage is like a relationship. You got to wrap your arms around it, understand it, and then all of a sudden you have the aha moment. And that's what I thoroughly enjoy.
Well, look what you did there. There's somebody that is now in the scenario that they absolutely wanted. And without that, they would not have been able to make that happen.
Yes, and I think about the son, who was creative enough to go outside the box to think about this particular product to do that. And not just that, let me tell you something, Harry. One of your listeners called me this week from up north a little bit in reference to something that he wants to do, in reference to business is concerned, and wanted to know, if I do this with my home, can I use the funds as far as over here in something else? So I shared, when you borrow funds from a reverse mortgage, they are your funds. Yeah. You can do whatever you want with your funds, and it's a non-taxable event.
Yeah, it's huge. We are at 45 minutes past the hour. Final break. We're going to come right back. A reminder, if you're looking for a speaker, John Walters is someone that I strongly encourage that you give a call to, because he'll do a great job and he'll help a lot of your brothers, sisters, members, whatever the organization may be. You can call or text John Walters at 609-231-4924. We'll be back, and then we'll be uninterrupted until Brian Kilmeade right after this with John Walters. I am Hurley in the Morning.
Hurley in the Morning.
Not only the news, but perspective too.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5. WPGG Atlantic City. WENJ HD3 Millville, a Town Square media station.
All right, who's there for heroes or their families left behind when a service member or a first responder dies or is catastrophically injured in the line of duty? Who helps our country's homeless vets? I'll tell you who. It's the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Never forget the sacrifices of our country's greatest heroes. They're hoping all of us will donate $11 a month. Just go to their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org, the letter T, number 2, letter T.org. For the Tunnel to Towers Foundation.
Hey, it's Jesse Kelly. Are you still on the fence about owning gold? It's time to pull the trigger with the Oxford Gold Group and buy gold and silver. Nobody can predict the future, but we can't put our head in the sand either. The Oxford Gold Group are the pros. They make owning gold and silver simple and easy to understand. Call Oxford Gold Group right now, and you may qualify for up to $10,000 in free precious metals. Call 833-995-GOLD. That's 833-995-GOLD.
You're waking up with Hurley in the Morning.
Egg Harbor Township, Ocean City,
Brigantine,
Mays Landing.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5 and the WPG Talk Radio app.
We're back. This is such a great story. John, you were sharing names during the break that you probably couldn't have any idea that I knew so well.
You and I just realized within a few moments, because I was an avid racquetball player, we wound up talking about Tilton Athletic Club.
I opened the Tilton Athletic Club with Phil Giuliano.
Right.
He was the manager.
Right. He was a teacher, and then there was Richie Goldstein.
Who was also a teacher.
Right.
And then all became casino executives.
And Dick Cook.
Dick Cook, who now John knows how well I got to know, was the president of Adamar, New Jersey, Tropicana, and from Texas.
Right.
Beautiful guy.
Yes.
Great guy.
Yes.
Gregarious. Big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. Our paths has crossed in a lot of different directions, and there's no such thing as an accident.
We never played.
Everything happens for a reason.
I was on that same ladder at Tilton that you were. And when you played somebody, you beat them, you moved up.
Right.
And so we never played, though. No. I even though I didn't know you then, I remember who I played.
Right.
You were an A-level player?
Yes.
I was a B-level player.
Right.
But I played with a lot of the the A guys. I loved racquetball.
Yeah.
Great exercise.
Great. Well, we'll get off racquetball for a second and go back. But we were what we were finishing up on was the three most common reasons why people get reverse mortgages. And I was talking about as far as need was concerned, and talking about paying off a mortgage, and that could be a need because people need to increase their cash flow. Let's take a look at lifestyle. One of my best stories in reference to lifestyle was this. I meet with a husband and wife. We sit down to talk. They're talking about using a reverse mortgage, and I got into going 3 deep with them, and they said, well, we're still working. We still can pay our bills, and we have good credit. Our problem is we like to take a vacation every year. And when we take our vacation every year, we wind up going in credit card debt to pay for the vacation. And they had about $15,000 in credit card debt. And so to save some time, what happened was we structured the reverse mortgage to get rid of the $15,000. And then what they wanted to do once a year to pull funds from the line of credit to take their vacation and not have any credit card debt.
That's wonderful.
So that is what I call lifestyle. They designed the reverse mortgage to work for them for a lifestyle purpose.
I call it needs and wants.
Okay.
You know, the need buyer, the want buyer,
Right.
what you need food, this kind of thing. And then you want to take a vacation. You want to buy a car and that kind of thing. And it can work with all that.
It can, exactly. So it's a matter of, working with somebody that has a complete understanding of the program and the product and all the options that are involved. And not just, initially people are thinking about a reverse mortgage. Can I do A, if it's to pay off a mortgage? Where I might be thinking, okay, how much debt do you have? What is your revolving debt? We take a look at the credit report. Maybe you should pay this down or off, then do what you want to do, or we include it within that particular package. And so that is extremely valuable as far as the flexibility. So, so we covered the need, we covered the lifestyle. Now let's talk about the plan. Working with financial advisors as far as a plan is concerned could be it could revolve depending on the advisor, depending on the assets the individual has. The latest one that I worked on had to do with an advisor who had a client that all their asset allocation, their income was fine, but they lacked one thing, which was long-term care. So the long-term care happened to be something that they wanted that gap covered. So they established a reverse mortgage with a line of credit, and the idea behind it is not to touch the line of credit until 10, 20 years down the road. They had enough in assets, they had enough in savings to take care of that. The option to that, which I talked to them about, saying, well, you can use that, but you might also find an insurance product that might have a long-term. There's a lot of different policies out there that have a whole life policy with a long-term care rider on the back end, and all of a sudden that created a conversation. And there's many different options to long-term care now because the insurance companies are coming up with different products because the baby boomers is crashing them down.
It's true.
Okay?
Yeah, very good point.
So if I can emphasize anything has to do with the flexibility, if it's for need, if it's lifestyle or plan, is that depending on your personal situation, is that what we can do is have a conversation, dig a little bit deeper into this, and find out if it's a viable product. And one of the things that I say when sitting down at the table is, let's have a conversation. Let's put the pieces together. Let's see if it makes sense. And if it does, then what we do is take one step at a time to get to the end. So
it's a plan. It's a good plan.
Yeah.
The the flexibility of the program is immense, isn't it?
And that's the thing. Normally, a financial product, if you take an annuity as an example,
very rigid. It is what it is.
Well, and I'm not saying it's bad. Okay,
right. But
what I'm saying is if you take, or even if you take a treasury bond or CD, what do you find out? There's time frames for it. This is 1 to 3 years. This is 3 to 5 years. Yep. Okay, so they are designed for a specific purpose. A reverse mortgage is too, but you have a lot of different features and options that are built into the program. Yes. That's why it's so powerful for people of retirement age. And as I said, as you get older, it becomes more valuable.
And properly using the line of credit is one of the most strategic and advantageous parts of the program, isn't it?
Yes. And that's the aspect. And here's the other thing about our line of credit. There is a difference between going to your local bank and getting a line of credit and the line of credit with a reverse mortgage, which is one of the features. Not everybody gets a line of credit. They might be paying off something and there's not enough funds to open up the line of credit. But if we compare the two, one of the biggest differences is that a reverse mortgage line of credit can't be reduced. It can't be closed or shut down, no matter what is happening with the economy, because of the insurance on that.
It's great.
Okay? With a home equity line of credit, and there is a place for it, and there's a time for it. The difference is it basically operates for 10 years, and then it gets recasted into an amortized loan. Mm-hmm. And that's perfectly okay. So what I need to do is zero in, what are you trying to do? What is the best option for you? And it may not be a reverse mortgage. I might put you into say, listen, go to your local bank and get a HELOC. And so that's what I feel good about is giving them or the correct guidance or direction if my product is not a product that's a good fit for them.
What I did hate seeing, and it was always, something that I watched happen in my banking days, you take out a home equity loan of some kind, whether it's a line of credit or whatever, you've got a monthly payment now.
Correct.
And with the reverse mortgage, you don't have a monthly payment. If you want to make a payment, you can make a payment. And that there's reasons that John can explain how that will help build the line of credit, because obviously you're making payments, but you don't have to make a payment. So that could even put you in a position where, hey, 1 month you want to make a payment, you do. 1 other month you don't have it, or you don't want to have it, you don't have to. So, but with the other, you're going to have that monthly payment. And I watched a lot of people make the monthly payment with the proceeds of the line of credit,
right,
or the home equity loan, and that just always, made me sad.
When these loans get reset or recasted, they call it. What I mean is that you get an interest only. That's what happens with a home equity line of credit. It's an interest only loan, very low payment, okay, for a 10-year period.
Yeah,
but where the problem runs into is when it run its term and that 10-year time frame has come up, and now they amortize that into, let's say, 10 or 15 years.
Yeah, loan.
And now your payment is you're going from $75, just using that as an example, to $300 or $400.
Yeah.
I get called, and they say we can't afford, and we have to pay off the HELOC.
And now that's right. Now if they don't have a mortgage, they have that. Now they need you to pay that off.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
Where they maybe didn't need that in the first place.
Correct. And that's part of learning. So
now,
to speak.
it also could be a strategy where if you're 10 years prior to eligibility to do a reverse mortgage, you could start with that and realize at the end of the day you're going to pay that off. That would be a strategy. Very workable.
I'll tell you what. I might hire you, Harry.
Thank you.
You are on you're on the game plan. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
If you're 60 years old and you need $30,000, $40,000 for whatever it may be, but a reverse would be better.
Yeah.
You do the HELOC, put it in place. You get 62. You get the reverse.
Yeah.
We pay off the 62. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Good strategy.
So
4 minutes left in your program, John. It's gone fast.
Extremely fast. How much does the time go fast for you, Harry?
It does.
It does?
Yeah. When you enjoy what you do, it always does. If something's a dread, then you almost feel like you could see the thing click, the secondhand tick. That's not the case.
They say if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
My father told me.
Okay. It's just to finish up this particular show is about educating the listener in reference to this program. And if it's of interest to you, or even if another family member, it could be your parents, give me a call, text, email, and be happy to sit down or talk by phone. Whatever your comfort level is perfectly good with me, and we can go from there. But if it's a needs-based situation that you might be involved with, if it's a lifestyle, or if you're thinking how to use this product to strengthen your current retirement situation. Now, everybody's different. Some people may only have Social Security. Can this program strengthen their retirement? No question about it. It can add to it. And if they have a pension, it could be designed, as I said, for any of these other areas that we're talking about. So reach out, and I'll be happy to talk with you and have fun with it.
609-231-4924. Someone that's listening, John, maybe for the first time, or they haven't heard you address this before, how long does the process take?
4 to 6 weeks. Let's try to make it real simple, okay?
Reasonable.
Yeah. 4 steps involved. Basically what it is, the education part. Sit down, talk, find out if there's a need for this. Is there a good fit for it? And we decide to move forward from there. It's the application. There is counseling that's involved over the phone, which I talked to you about. It's a protective mechanism for the program. From there, what happens is that there's an appraisal that's ordered. The title company does their job. That gets concluded, and then we go to closing. It's like that. I've closed some loans within a couple of weeks, and other loans have taken 6 weeks. But the average, I would say, is 4 to 6.
And if somebody has an emergent need, you are really good about doing everything within your power to help expedite.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. There could be situations where there's a time frame that's involved, and am I able to expedite some things? Yes, we put it in front of the pack, so to speak.
You know, it's heartbreaking, and the music's playing, so we have to go. But there have been people that didn't realize what a reverse mortgage could do for them, and they've actually been foreclosed on.
Yes.
That's heartbreaking.
I think next week I'm going to talk about that. The aspect, as a matter of fact, if you're in foreclosure, it's an option. Or if you're heading into it, it's an option. One of the things is if people are in a foreclosure and they have an agreement, what happens as long as you have been fulfilling your agreement for 3 months, it is definitely a possibility that you can do. And it has to be trustee approval. But
John, it's flown by. Thank you so much. To reach John, 609-231-4924. And on the second and fourth Wednesday of every month during the 9 o'clock hour, John Walters presents and